And we're live with a couple of Millers and their German cousin, Muller. And we're going to review the Blake 7 episode Horizon.
Woo-hoo.
So, what are your initial... Oh, first thing, Wojtek, did you listen to Jeff's commentary?
No, I didn't. I just didn't have the time.
Okay, fair enough.
There wasn't really. I didn't really say much.
Quick question: how do you manage spoilers? In the notes, like, I mean, we are talking about the whole plot, so
yeah, just the episode, previous episode, nothing afterwards, because
okay, yeah.
Wojtek's watched the next 3 episodes, I think. So, button it when it comes to what happens in those.
Oh, you want to read that summary, Ben?
Okay. Right then. The summary. I'll read it from the Liberation one because it's a little bit bigger. We are on Horizon. Right then. The Liberator crew, suffering from stress, have retreated to the outer edge of the galaxy's spiral rim. They see a Federation space freighter heading towards a planet protected by a magnetic barrier and decide to investigate. Oh, one thing, they reused the model from episode 2 of Blade 7. Decide to investigate. Blake and Jenna teleport down and are taken prisoner. They learn that this planet, codenamed Horizon, is a Federation colony world. The bulk of the native population have been enslaved, and their ruler, Ro, is a Federation puppet. Blake and Jenna are interrogated and put to work in the mines, as are Vila, Gan, and Callie when they teleport down to investigate. Actually, that's not true. Gan's not put to work. He's put up on that bit of wood. It's just sort of left up there.
Yeah, right. He's crucified.
Yeah, sort of. Yes. However, their words, particularly their report that his father is being murdered by the Federation, have caused Ro to doubt his Federation training. Avon, alone on the ship, considers leaving, but delays to the point where escape is impossible. He teleports down and rescues the others. The reason why is that I'll go into that later on. I did some grabs on that whole section where Avon was asking Aurak, running all the numbers about whether to leave or not. Teleports down and rescues the others. The Federation commissar has Ro's fiancée Selma tortured for information about the crew. This proves the final straw for Ro, who puts his tribal robes on and casts out the Federation and restores native rule. So, what did you think of the episode, Jeff?
I liked it. It's probably the one that made the most sense out of any of them so far. In terms of, there wasn't anything that was, like, all bizarre and hard to follow what was going on. It was like 1,000 times more interesting than the last episode. There was, maybe it dragged a little bit in the purple-suited guys talking to each other, but it was that they were still so much better than the smug smile-off between the Supreme Commander and the psycho creep guy. That I didn't even mind that too much.
Ironically enough, that was like Wojtek's favourite part of the previous story.
Yeah, well, not my favorite part, but it was like, it made much more sense to me than probably Jeff. I wrote this comment on this YouTube Hangouts you did. I mean, it's, as I said in the comment, they both know who they are, and that's basically vicious reptiles, and they admire each other for that. That's why it's so creepy. And they are really flirting. I think Ben was right about that. They are flirting all the time, scenes. But yeah, this episode was kind of Horizon was kind of boring. No, but because it was like nothing unusual happened. Like the synopsis, the short synopsis of the plot says it all. Says it's all. There's not much anything else happening. They find this planet. They get captured. They talk to the ruler. Ruler rebels, and that's the end.
To me, that was what I liked about it. It's straightforward and not a bunch of bizarre stuff happening.
But it was good for
characterization. Boring last episode.
It was good for characterization, though, and apparently, I remember.
You know, the scene you mentioned with Avon and the stuff. You know, I thought it was all that was pretty good, even if the Aurak voice is a little annoying. But it sounds like he almost sounds a little bit like K9 from Doctor Who, but the goofy K9 that not the original voice.
Oh, okay.
The other voice. But yeah, I mean, it was. There was always something happening in every scene, even if it was, it was a little repetitive in the sense that everybody just keeps going down and getting hit with the darts or whatever until Avon has the master idea of asking if there's a place he can teleport that isn't going to be immediately ambushed. And what you said about Gan was kind of ironic, because it's like he would probably be the best at working in the mines, and he's the one guy they don't send in there. Yeah. Shows how much they really care about the mine working. Hey, there's this big guy who's probably stronger than everybody else who got in there. Well, we'll leave him here and send the girls in there. That'll be better.
And squirrely.
And squirrely. Yeah, one thing I said yesterday, in the, I don't even know if it was on the commentary video though, but I wanted to say in the review, remember, is that the actor who plays Vila, he had a good acting moment when he gets the injection, because he did this thing with his eyebrows where they, like you could see it, like his face like slowly change, and I thought he did a good job of that. So
yeah.
But yeah, I think I think so far I place it as my second favorite episode. The only one I liked better was the one that was like the second to last episode of the first season.
Yeah, Deliverance.
Deliverance, yeah.
Yeah, that was the one with Megat saying Lord Avon, and I love that story. That storyline was fantastic. And Villa was slightly irked at all the attention Avon was getting. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, we have got to go, haven't we, Lord Avon? I think what's happening in these reviews is the type preference is really coming out, where you have Jeff's preference for relationships, characterization, an action element, Wojtek's preference for, like as you said there about the episode, the NT thing of show me the ideas, show me the concepts, and
there wasn't much of that in that one. I mean, there was. We get to see a few things about how the Federation works.
Yes, that was good.
We knew the Federation as this totalitarian state in the core colonies like Earth and the others, and on this one they rule via puppet rulers, similar to the British Empire.
And for any American politicians watching, that's how you do it.
They got it down.
And that was.
Well, I won't get into that now, Ben. But you reminded me. Story came out today or this morning, whatever, about a tape of Trump's advisor telling the RNC that he's been playing a character up till now, and he doesn't really mean what he says.
What, his whole life?
Which of course, well, he means in the campaign, but which of course Cruz is jumping all over to, hammer his, he's not really telling you the truth thing. But anyway, it just reminded me of that. But I won't get off on that. It was like 7 videos.
That's fine. I liked, apart from like a couple of delivered lines, I liked the performance of the guy playing Ro. I mean, I agree with the book where the book said that he sort of conveyed a sense of vulnerability, and
also a little bit of ambiguity is not the right word, but like you weren't sure exactly what he was going to do. Like it was pretty apparent what the Federation guys were going to do, whereas with Ro it was like he was kind of having a little bit of a dilemma, is exactly what direction he was going to go in and who he was going to believe.
And we actually had.
Once Callie gave him the mental message about his father, he didn't. He didn't, freak out or do anything to betray what his future actions were going to be.
Usually, those kind of shows, those kind of episodes, are quite risky for a writer to do, and unless they're really, because like you're concentrating it really on the non-regulars. I mean, apart from the fact that you've got the Avon subplot to like really, because that's so good, it helps to balance things out.
Yeah.
But sometimes.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, before, is that if there's any part of the episode that dragged a little bit, to me, it was just the two Federation guys talking, but I didn't think it was so long that it ruined the rest of it. It didn't become like a, they gave, some background information, some, whatever you want to call it, like sort of exposition, but it wasn't like, it didn't go on and on so much that it made the rest of it boring to me. Like, it all sort of was relevant to what they were talking about.
Oh,
that was actually the most interesting part for me, the conversations between the Federation guys, because it kind of shows the politics of the Federation. So you get an insight into how the whole apparatus works, and that was okay. It was nice. But then again, what I wondered about is why do they have a total surveillance network on a border world and not on Earth? Like, you have all these little cameras everywhere, and when they have this technology, why don't they use it on the core worlds?
Well, in the first episode starts with like shots of the cameras of a population walking around in a sort of a haze, semi-haze, with cameras watching them all the while. In the first episode.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but then again, they find in the next episode.
Oh yeah, they always. This is like a science fiction trope where they always say that so many plots would be foiled if only they had like microphones and cameras down every single corridor on ships.
Yeah, or out in the wilderness. I mean, this cameras on Horizon were in the forest, and apparently they were everywhere. Like, I mean, exactly this spot that the first crew came when they beamed down, teleport down. Exactly the spot where they were observing what was happening. There was like this camera right like 1 meter besides them coming out of the of the woods, and I don't know, but it's a minor thing. I mean, it's
yeah. I mean, you're right. I mean, what it could have been is, it would have been technically possible. You have a camera much further away. You do maybe a point of view shot of it, like zooming in, to like give the impression that you got this powerful camera that might only be a little thing, but it can see a long way away. maybe something like that could have been done. But
we wouldn't probably walk out in a jungle forest, but yeah.
But like, it was a very rushed season. That was season B, and a lot of industrial action at the time.
Oh.
A lot of uncooperative unions.
I don't know why they included this whole surveillance network anyways. I mean, okay, the point was to capture the crew pretty fast, but they could have done this story-wise in a different way. I mean, that I don't know, because they make like a big deal out of the surveillance network. They show it, and it's very very present in the episode, but I don't know what the idea behind it was.
Well, maybe it's because it's a mine, and they want security for the mine. But I think we're going off a little bit of an NT tangent here. Jeff made an interesting point about last night in the commentary. After we finished the commentary, he then talked a bit about the dialogue, and he said that the difference, because he was sort of comparing the dialogue between the Federation guy and Roe, and then the two Federation guys, where he talked about how that was interesting to him, whereas he thought that the dialogue between Servalan and Travis was just posturing. And maybe you could talk a bit about that, Jeff, because that seemed to be a very interesting point.
Well, I mean, you said most of what I said in terms of like that there was a purpose to everything that they were discussing. You know, so it was more like business, whereas you called the other stuff in the last episode flirting. You know, and so to me it was pretty like useless. You know, so I didn't have any interest in that.
So do you think it seemed contrived?
Well, I mean, it was just boring to me. I mean, it contrived. I mean, it didn't seem like out of character for those characters.
Right.
I just didn't care about it. You know, the characters were boring and just kind of off-putting. There wasn't anything that made me want to watch or hear what they were talking about, because it was just boring to me.
What about when Servalan and Travis were talking in the previous episode?
With that, like I was put off by the new Travis just not being very convincing.
Yeah, he was kind of like,
and so that kind of hurt the overall dynamic between the two. But again, it was just, you know, there wasn't. By then, it was just like it had such a horrible beginning that it was like, you know, I think I was waiting for something interesting to happen, or something to like pull it out of the funk, and it just never happened. So.
What's weird is like the next episode I think was 2 minutes shorter, and I think you mentioned the length. So that means that they could have cut a minute out of all that chanting, all that choral music in the when she went to see Clone Master Fen. So, you know, they could have if they'd have made it the same length as Horizon, then they wouldn't have had all that chanting music, choral music rather, that was putting you off. I could hear the groans.
His mic is disabled.
Yes, he's disabled his mic. Hopefully I've not said anything. Oh yeah.
Have the phone ringing on the video the whole time.
Consideration. FI user.
Yeah, I'm a considerate guy. Much more so than my coworkers. They're always messing with my stuff on my desk, whereas I wouldn't fathom doing that to them. Like, I don't go and move things on those desks.
Really? SJ is moving your stuff around?
Yeah, everybody moves stuff to whatever's convenient to them.
Oh, I thought they might be doing it deliberately. Just I'll move it around.
No. No,
I'll
it's
get
not
it.
to mess with me. It's just they think whatever they're doing is more important than, however my stuff is.
Did you get that, Wojtek? What Jeff said?
Yeah.
Did the sound go peculiar?
Yeah, no, I didn't get it. I probably wouldn't notice when someone was moving my stuff around. And I didn't notice the sort of things like something is missing or something new is there. Was it always there? I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's pretty simple for me. I only have like a few pens I use, and so when one of them's not there, I notice. And then, like, I notice when somebody right in front of me is, like, moving my baskets around so that they can spread stuff out on my desk, things like that.
I was in town today and I was at a bus station, and there was an ticket dispenser there, an automatic ticket dispenser. And I was asking myself if this was always there. And I can't tell. I walked by and waited at this bus station several dozens times probably, but I can't really tell if this ticket dispenser, and it's it's a big thing. It's not like a small thing. It's like a big big device.
I would have looked at the age of the metal, see how new it looked.
Exactly. That's what I normally do, and it looked pretty new. So
This reminds me of a joke. This reminds me of a good joke on Harry Enfield, where he played this character called Tim Nice, but Dim, and he goes to the wrong school reunion, and he says something like, "Of course, I never noticed. Of course, when that 12th century church wasn't there."
No, but like details like this completely pass me. Like I also barely remember how people look, like what clothes they are wearing. There's something like I noticed. I watched like two of your reviews with Jeff, and like you noticed, you immediately noticed what costumes people are wearing and how they look. I couldn't tell if you would ask me now what color even the clothes of the protagonist had. I couldn't tell.
Even the women.
Even the women, like even if you ask me about you said a lot in the last review about Avon's red reptile costume.
Yeah.
Lizard costume or something like this.
Yeah, lobster or something like that.
Red lobster, that's even better, yeah. I couldn't tell if he was wearing it in this episode. I don't know. I think not, maybe. I don't know. Did he?
No, he wore a sort of Baco foil, I think.
Yeah, in this episode, he switched back to the aluminum foil outfit,
Yeah.
at least for part of the episode, whereas Jenna was wearing a high school dance team outfit.
Oh, I've got some photos of that. Did you like that costume of Jenna, Jeff?
I did. I think when Blake was kind of doing that ambiguous thing about there's other considerations or whatever he said. That's what I think he was talking about. He was like, well, but I want you down there so I can look at your outfit, because I like the high school dance team.
Yeah. Yeah. And not just because I don't want you piloting the ship for Avon if he runs away.
Yeah, well, that was a secondary concern, but,
Yeah.
I mean, I can remember the Indian Inca outfit of Ro at the end. So, but just because it was very unusual and, in my opinion, kind of silly, but exactly, yes.
Yeah, before that they had the purple
the helmet,
purple outfit, so they were paying tribute to Prince.
and the page has hair. Can you switch back to the to his native outfit, to his native king outfit?
Yep. Yeah, this.
Yeah, I was. I remember the first time I saw the series once several years ago, and now I'm rewatching them. But I started with the second season, and I remember when I was seeing him in his office, I thought like, "Oh my God, no! Please don't do that." Like, yeah, he found his way back to the roots of his civilization and the way of his people, and then this. I mean, you have to give them that. They build up the thing about the weapons, about the arrows, about the blow thingies. What are they called?
Blow darts, I think.
Blow darts. Yeah. And they build it up when Rose says, like in the middle or the beginning when it's introduced, our weapons may be primitive, but they still have their uses.
Yeah.
And he says that to his mentor, and then he shoots his mentor at the end with this primitive weapon.
Yeah, and he says it with pride as well.
Yeah.
And then there was a bit where I noticed, like, when he says to his mentor, "You were wrong about Blake. The Federation doesn't frighten him." And then the two Maroon Federation guys exchange some looks, thinking, "Oh, this guy's getting a bit going rogue a little bit here."
Yeah, but I mean, Blake was hoping for a base for his operations.
Yeah.
Somewhere outside of the Federation territory. But I mean, Horizon is not usable to him because the population sucks military-wise. I mean, they have no arrows. The Federation has like orbital bombing, and so I mean, they could have. They went too stereotypical, too cliche wild men in this episode with the inhabitants of Horizon. They could have put them to at least like industrial level.
Wait, whoa, Wojtek.
The mining would make more sense. Like if they would mine, I mean they do it by hand, and
yeah.
I think that's not very efficient. Like if that's one of the main sources for this material that they are mining there for the Federation, then they probably would outfit them with some mining tools.
Yeah. Well, you know,
there's a punishment for those prisoners.
I didn't catch that. Say again.
It's a punishment for the prisoners, not just an efficient mining operation.
No, but the whole planet is set up as this mining planet. I mean, there are no prisoners there, right? It's the population of the planet that is working there. I mean, they make of it how many can die in mines.
But Wojtek, when they set up the colony in Australia, they couldn't send over a load of technology. They had like the first fleet, which was like 17 ships, and they pretty much had to like make stuff from start. It's reasonable to say it's hard. They can't ship everything over and build it there quickly. It is plausible that it would be so primitive.
No, not really, because with space travel you can put even heavy machinery on this planet, and I think I don't know at which time period was Australia not equipped with this stuff. I think they were. I must research that, but
it was probably.
If it's just the population on the planet working there, then why did the cargo vessel go there in the first place? Because it had prisoners on it.
Yeah, I think it was delivering the new guy, the new, because he meets him, and he says, "I've been here for 2 years," and he's sort of like, and so you know, like Rose Tutor, so he was there on that ship.
I mean, they set the cargo ship for the ore. don't they?
Yeah, and other things.
Yeah.
I mean, prisoners totally.
It's just that they reused the ship from the second episode. They reused the model.
Yeah.
The London, the prison ship. They reused it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but I mean, that's pretty obvious. I mean, they probably, it's probably similar to the situation like between Britain and Australia. It's a long way, the other end of the world, literally, and it takes a while to get ships there, so they send them in long intervals and yeah, to exchange crew and to bring back the materials.
Yeah, and it was supposed to be a 5-month trip to Cygnus Alpha on the penal ship London in episode 2. That was supposed to be a 5-month trip.
Like you said there were prisoners on the cargo ship. I don't remember.
In the second episode of season 1.
Yes, but now like
No, I remember a line where Blake mentioned them getting off some of the new. They looked just like the people who were on the planet already, but he mentioned that they came off the ship. That's the new guys, like the new labor workers that came off of the ship.
I can't remember.
It was when he first woke up. I think off of when he was knocked out. And he woke up on the table.
Yeah.
He had a line.
Okay.
And then I think it actually showed like on a screen somewhere the guys getting off the ship.
Okay.
Ooh.
I wasn't paying attention because it wasn't super interesting, but I was pretty sure that's what happened. Hey, Fireflies on?
But you see, I don't think we've ever actually seen that in Blade somewhere. Them actually leaving a ship because you'd have to build it. You know, it's an expensive shot.
It just showed them like moving from one place to another. That was kind of what it was implied.
Yeah, I mean, it is sort of implied that like, well, the commissar arrives. Yeah, the commissar arrives on the ship. There would have been maybe something about supplies.
Yes, sir.
Oh, he's checking.
Hello? Everyone there?
Yes, we're here. Were you checking, Wojtek?
Yes, I'm rechecking the episode, like.
Okay, very good.
Because that would make sense.
Yeah, but the commissar, like the stockier guy, played by I think it's William Squire, the mentor, the tutor of Roe.
Was I the only one who had the song "Der Kommissar" pop into my head?
Probably.
Don't turn around. Uh-oh.
The Kommissar. Der Kommissar ist hier.
So you picked up on this as well, Jeff. Sensory ecstasy hours, pleasure machines.
Yeah.
And then I like this line, sort of like couplet. Where are we going to find a centre that will take us in for a month's rest and rehabilitation? And then it is, well, that shouldn't be a problem. And then it climaxes, well, what's the point of being famous if you can't get a last-minute booking?
Do they do something with the plot that they started here, with the crew is getting more and more tired and overworked? Because in the episodes that I watched after that, I watched it in.
Those episodes don't exist for Jeff and Morgan yet.
Yeah. Yes, I won't tell anything, but like, it's like. I mean, they get into stressful situations one after the other, and they do not get any vacation. I thought they would build it up to some release episode where the whole crew gets on vacation and silly stuff happens. Like you get it in other series where.
No.
where they take also a vacation from the main plot and just do some characterization when the main characters are not in their usual role. But they, as far as I remember, they didn't do that. I was expecting that would happen after they mentioned that whole stress problem, and also like Villa's reaction to the drugs, like you would expect in a series like that this would be a growing problem. But I can remember, as I said, I watched the series just once, and this was like 2008, and so, and now I watched until 207, I think. So I don't remember if they did anything with that.
Yeah, it's best not to talk about the future episodes of Wojtek.
Yeah, I'm not spoiling anything.
Yeah, Jeff literally wants like a blank canvas of like, and he doesn't really object to me saying the next one's good because it might not be good in his point of view. So that's not really a spoiler for him. He wants a totally open mind as to what happens in the next episode. I have come to accept that. I am not really. I don't really want to build up, even though I think the next one's really good.
Yeah. That's great, Ben.
The one where they meet the creators of the Liberator already happened, right?
Yeah, but what happened if it hadn't? Yes, it has already happened.
Yeah, I mean, I just saw that. I'm just
Yes.
because I wasn't sure, because it was like very episodic episode where they don't. It could have happened anywhere in the series. So because of this humans walking in for the system, I loved where they did like a little line that explained something that was bothering me. Like you had this Borg-like civilization, highly advanced, I mean, they built a Liberator that's like several decades more advanced than the Federation, and they still have people carrying around stuff, the slaves. And I was asking myself, oh come on, why do they have people working as slaves there? And then this one slave says this line, they still use people. We are adaptable. We are cheap. And that was like, oh, hey, they thought about that. Or at least they give enough to explain something away that isn't like that makes not much sense. At least they do that, and there are a lot of moments like this in the series. I mean, that's one thing why I like it. You see that the producers. I mean, sometimes stuff happens that is okay. It really doesn't make any sense, but sometimes you see that they did put thought into it. That they did like several iterations of looking at what they did and thinking if it makes sense, and then maybe they sometimes they do deliver on consistency.
Right. Anything to add, Jeff?
I'll give it a 7 out of 10.
Oh, that's good for Jeff. Previous story got 1.
Yeah. So it was quite an improvement from the last one.
That's good. That's a good mark from Jeff. What does Morgan give it?
He gives it a shrug and a smirk.
Right. Wow.
That's what I would. That's what I would do. Who is it, by the way? Is it your brother or some friend of yours?
40. Oh man.
I saw him talk in the background in the last review. So, but I don't know who it is.
Oh, that's my son, Morgan.
I'd say that.
Ah, okay, your son. What type is he?
He's your supervisor, Wojtek.
Supervisor. Oh.
Yeah, supervise him.
I ain't supervising nobody.
You supervise INTPs. ESTP, Wojtek. ESTP.
ESTP. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, Morgan, there's a relationship in sociology called.
Ah, okay, because you said supervisor. I thought
Yeah, supervision relationship. Yeah.
The title.
I gotcha.
See, the exact opposite of that is my relationship with an INTP because my uncle's an INTP, so he supervised me. Not exactly supervised, but yeah, we
mentored.
Yeah, mentored. There we go. Playing like games together and stuff. He would be teaching me stuff, and then I'd be making it more fun.
Okay. But like, yeah, that would be my reaction to this episode. It's like, I don't know. I mean, I probably would give it a 5 out of 10 because just because I neither did love nor hate it nor it was okay.
What about you, Ben?
Yeah, I'm about the same. I mean, like I said, I was saying before, it's an Alan Pryor story. The next one is really good, and I'm really looking forward to doing the commentary on the next one.
Yeah, the next one will be interesting.
All right, then.
For sure.
I like this. I can go through some exchanges in this. Like we've got Avon where he doesn't want to go down. What about me? Why don't you go? You are expendable, and you're not. No, I am not. I am not expendable. I am not stupid, and I am not going.
Yeah, he had good one.
Yeah, but his delivery is so characteristic. It's so Paul Darrow. He has this sort of rhythm. I am not expendable, I am not stupid, and I am not going. Like, he has so much emphasis. It's so much of a rhythm.
That's a good rhythm.
Yep. He's very good at delivering those Avon-ish lines.
Yes, he is. And I mean, what I love about Avon in the last several episodes is an ongoing theme where he tries to create a mutiny against Blake, and where he's and you see that this subplot is evolving, and especially in the next episode we.
Oh my God, Wojtek! Please do not talk about.
I want
episodes.
I'm just saying that this plot is evolving.
Yes, Gordon Bennett. Now, what does it look like Villa's got under his shirt there? Well, some padding to take the hit of the dart, perhaps.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was like a real prop, the dart.
Yeah. Yeah.
They really blew
it looks like it looks like he's got the newspaper under his jacket.
So they put effort into really doing a small effect there, like they really blew or shot a dart at him. It was not like stop motion.
Yeah.
Dart appears.
Yeah, I mean, health and safety in those days really was, quite limited. There you go. So, Wojtek, do you we get down to the meat of it? Do you fancy Jenna?
she's attractive for a British person.
Oh!
Yeah, okay, you gotta put that quote in the description of the video.
Mm, yeah, I mean, yeah, she's alright. I mean, as a character, I don't know. She's not a very interesting character. Like, I mean, the if I would have to make a list of my favorites, of course, number one is Avon, then there comes Nothing, and then Villa. Villa is
Yeah.
interesting and funny, and he delivers well. And then, I mean Savallon. When we are not talking about the crew, then Avon and Savallon are the top two. Then maybe Villa, Travis. The rest of the crew is, I don't know.
Don't mention any more characters, Wojtek,
Why?
because they might not have turned up yet.
No, I won't mention.
Right. Right.
I wouldn't even remember. I mean,
Right. Good.
uh,
Right. So it's probably best in future if you don't go too far ahead with the episodes.
I mean, Aurak is also
Yeah, I love Aurak.
interesting. I mean, entertaining. Interesting, I don't know, but entertaining.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Now, because we're used to watching Doctor Who, we just sort of like let it slide that the sets that where Ro lives are just incredibly studio bound. Like, whereas, but it's sort of maybe feasible that they got really good at making the flat floors in their society.
The mentor of Ro looks very like a Vulcan.
Yes, with that hairstyle.
Yes, and you kind of don't see his ears. I think they did this several times. I think that's why the Vulcans have this hair top, so sometimes they can hide their ears, so they don't have to put
Do
up
the makeup, yeah.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course this is all relates to this costume here is called a Nehru jacket, and a lot of this was like, there you go, the flat floor, the Nehru jacket, and a lot of this was like what happened in India, where they would take the children of the elites in India and educate them in the best British private schools, and then to make British loyal to the crown.
Yeah. He generally gives off a very Indian vibe, and I thought it would be inspired by like British India, but that's one of the reasons why I didn't like the reveal where he's having this strange costume. So
Right. Once I've skipped through these, we can get to the comedy maximum power. Oh, so you've had a look at the few of the maximum power scans. What do you think of the maximum power book?
well, it's written entertainingly. I just saw like 3 slides of it for Horizon, and I mean, it's a fan book.
Yeah.
That's about it. I mean, you told me that they was it this one or what was the other one where they included this fake episodes?
Yes, maximum power. It included the fake episodes, and one of them was called Cygnus Beta, and it was a spoof of 10th Planet, and it was, instead of them saying you will be like us, it was, you must come and live with us. Like, they were really hospitable. Right then, now we can do. Now, Wojtek, you can do the voice of Avon, and I'll try and do Maybe.
I'm not INTJ.
Right, if you voice Avon, I'll try and do Aurak.
If I go alone, can I pilot the Liberator indefinitely?
With the help of automatics, of course you can.
This is insane.
Nice job, Ben.
I know that.
Then why did you ask the question?
I didn't. How long can I maintain myself?
Is that a question?
Yes.
We have concentrated food for one person for 1,000 years.
And our power is self-regenerating?
Affirmative.
Can you plot a course to keep out of the range of any known spaceship manned by the Federation?
The battle and navigation computers can handle that perfectly adequately.
I ask if you could.
Of course, should it be necessary.
Saying that, we are powerful enough to resist all but an attack by 3 Federation pursuit ships at once.
Is that a question?
No. If we go now, we can sail the universe for as long as we like in reasonable safety. Provided we keep out of everybody's way and we do not do anything rash.
No data available to answer the first question, if it was a question.
I put it to you as a possibility. I request the odds.
The odds would be 3.5 to 1 on survival.
Therefore, I do not need Blake. I do not need any of the others.
Is that a question?
I do not need anybody at all.
Is that the question? I must ask you to be more specific.
Shut up, Aurak.
You could have just put "shut up, Ben." And then they had that exchange with the. I love the sound effects of the data link.
But going back to that exchange, I mean, it is interesting that Avon has a consciousness in this scene. Like, I mean, he knows all the answers to these questions. He didn't have to ask Aurak, so but he's like fighting within himself, and you see that he has like a conscious fight. That was pretty good, actually.
No, he would have gone. It was all to do with the numbers. He would have gone. Yeah, go on, Jeff.
Well, he ends up, deciding to go down instead, and so it kind of leaves that lingering as to, okay, now he has that knowledge in his data bank, though, of what he can do with the ship.
Yeah.
So it sort of adds another layer of, it's always right under the surface that Avon's already got his escape plan.
Yeah, because the thing is, and that is why Jenna is such an important crew member, because she's the pilot. Jenna pilots the ship.
Uh-huh.
And there was another early episode where he was trying to persuade Jenna to go with him and pilot the ship. I think early in season 8.
Yeah, Avon's kind of been looking for a way to do the things that he's not necessarily good at. So once he basically comes to the conclusion that Aurak or the ship can do basically anything that he needs them to do, then he's got that option, because he's like basically he had our previous episodes where he was working on opening doors, so he was saying gonna make Squirrely useless. Basically one by one, make it so that everybody is expendable, like he said, except for him. So
Squirrely is fantastic with doors.
Yeah, but I mean, he comes to the conclusion that he does not need any of the other crew members.
Yeah.
Yet he decides to help them.
Right. Okay. What it was is this actual episode, when it was broadcast by UK Gold, they actually had the actor Paul Darrow introduce the story, and he talked about it for a minute or two, where he said, "This is a very good story because my character has this dilemma." And he would always talked about how the realism of the fact that he would have just gone. It was all about the numbers, right? And then that's why he smiles like this when he finds out there's 3 Federation pursuit ships. If it was just 2, he would have gone, but it's 3, and therefore he needs the others. So he goes down and risks his life to rescue them. And then he goes down and shoots a bunch of people, and that impresses Morgan. The fact that he's a badass like that. No messing. And I like the way he delivered Marvelous when he lands down there.
No, but I mean, theoretically, he could have left them. Like, I mean, he didn't have to go towards the Federation ships. He could just leave. And then, I mean, if he is going down and takes Blake back on the Liberator, Blake is a dangerous element in Avon's mind because he puts the crew constantly in peril. So his odds of surviving when he would take Blake in would probably not outweigh the benefit of having a good pilot or expendable crew members. And he knows that the crew is loyal to Blake and will do whatever Blake asks of them.
But you see, he also knows that Blake is capable.
I mean, he admires his genius for leadership.
It's not just that though, because Blake wasn't. It's not like he's just a mouthpiece, because he is an alpha grade NT as well. Anyhow, we'll let Jeff get in. I think Morgan wanted to say something, but the sound became a little distorted. Yeah, no, they're dirty. Blake got cleaned up. There was a little bit of dirt on the lens, and then I cleaned it up. Right, where's the aha? Oh, where's the sound gone? Where are they? We're in technical problems, I think, or coordination problems.
They may have left at the point of our performance.
No, hopefully not.
Of our reenacting.
No, I actually think I heard them in. Yeah, I've lost a couple of my lines. Well, I'll be back for Jeff's favourite bit, which is going through the maximum power scans. Although these ones were photographs because it was quicker to take photos. And then I had to remove all the. No, not had to, but I did it for Jeff's benefit, as I removed all the spoilers from the photos. There we go. Right, and so it put some joke things in, like Ben Jackson was not in this episode. I think that's a Doctor Who character. There you go, look, the London again.
Well, it's too long for me. I gotta go, but I'll let you finish up, I guess.
Okay, what's too long for you? What we've been...
The video.
Oh, okay, fine enough.
Already... Okay. Bye.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Right, okay, we'll go through it then. Right. We have a dynamic situation here, folks. Right. 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 Yeah, because there was some technical sound problems, so it was difficult. I suppose it was difficult for Jeff to judge when to come in and speak. Right, so I'll let you read through these, Wojtek, and see if anything strikes your fancy.
Open shot, the London again. Whatever the model shot cost, it was worth every penny. What are they referring to? I don't get it.
That's the name of the ship. It was the ship. Basically, they reused the shot of the London, which was the convict ship.
Okay. Just describe the story.
Right.
Horizon. Avon, wonderful. We have all the resources of Zen, Aurak, and the Liberator, and you feel that they are in trouble. You do not feel it, you reason it. They have not called in, therefore you must be in trouble. You don't have to be telepathic to know that. What's the name of the telepath again?
So the name of what?
Of the telepath, the woman.
Callie,
yeah. She's very much like Deanna Troi in Star Trek, where she gets these feelings, this vague,
I wish
useless feelings. Something is not right. I feel something. What do you feel? I don't know.
I wish you looked. I wish you looked like her.
I think she looks better than.
But actually, actually, Jan Chappell looks quite good for her age. Right.
No, she is this whole aristocracy thing going for her.
Yeah.
And I mean, she did get like a major role to play in this whole Aurak gets possessed by the evil spirit of the outer worlds, whatever.
Yeah, I like that.
I thought it was out of the blue, like, why does the computer get possessed by some evil spirit? And they could have like do it differently, that Aurak is actually the evil one, and do something with that. But I guess then they wanted to give a bigger role to Kelly and make her powers be of any use, so that she could fight this evil spirit in the spirit plane, whatever. Yeah, I mean, it was a strange thing that Aurak gets possessed and now he isn't, and because it added more ambiguity towards Aurak, that all the things he did, all the scheming that we saw in the previous episodes, and it was interesting because Aurak was new to the crew, and you got the impression that Aurak is an evil character and that he will cause trouble. And now it's gone. I mean, they invented this whole, evil possession. Possession is, they did an exorcism, and Aurak is Aurak again. And now he is just this talking computer box. I mean, it would be interesting if he actually, if he inherited the evil parts of his creator, because he was made in image of his programmer, of his creator, and that would be an ongoing thing. That the evil, the darker parts of that person would resurface from time to time, but they didn't do that. Okay, so in a nutshell, bored-out crew decides to relax by going to a tired, boring planet. Yes, that's that's really a good synopsis of this whole episode. Because there wasn't like more to it.
So what? So if I was to say, so I'll ask you. So Wojtek, what's your opinion on Avon's type?
Well, INTJ obviously. He hits all the stereotype points. So
including the most INTJ bit I've ever read, that comes to mind, was from the episode Jewel, where this was like the most INTJ speech, the most INTJ quote I can think of. What I'll do is get your reaction here. So it starts with Avon doesn't want to watch on screen what's going on because he wants to go to bed. Right, it says, Blake is sitting up in a tree, Travis is sitting up in another tree. Unless they're planning to throw nuts at one another, I don't see much of a fight developing before it gets light. Gan says, you're never involved, are you, Avon? You ever cared for anyone? And then Vila says, except yourself. Then Avon says, and this sums up INTJs in my opinion, this little speech from Avon, I have never understood why it should be necessary to become irrational in order to prove that you care, or indeed, why it should be necessary to prove it at all. And then Vila says, was that an insult or did I miss something? And then Callie the NF says, you missed something.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I mean, he's like an INTJ portrayed like real INTJs would like to be, maybe.
Yes, and even some ISFPs that think they're INTJs.
Or maybe that. But I mean, he comes across much more authoritarian than most INTJs probably could. Like, real INTJs don't have often this power behind them. This SE maybe.
Yeah, I mean, they want to have all the put-downs that Avon has.
Yes.
In their dreams. That's how they want to be.
But I mean,
they want to say things like, it's not a question. It's not some things like, yes, you're entitled to your opinion, Vila. It's your belief that we're entitled to it as well that's the problem. So things like that, and put downs of
you should get more INTJs into Blake, because probably they would love it. Like, search for some INTJs that would totally get into Blake 7 just because of the Avon character.
Yes, that is the angle I do take, Wojtek. Yes, I do take that. It's like, I shared a video around Avon's best jibes and put downs.
Yeah, in the INTJ Facebook group.
Oh yeah. And you know that quote about that I just read about Avon about not showing your feelings. I put that on my wall, and Dario Nardi liked it.
Yeah, I mean, but this is a trait that I very much like about INTJs. They can state the obvious in a such forceful way, I think our inferior FE makes us more diplomatic. Like, we don't say certain stuff, even if we think it, but they do, and that's hilarious. I mean, it's interesting.
Right then. Right, then we got a secret mining operation. Yeah, I mean, certain things in science fiction, when we start poking holes in it, is like number one irk for me: aliens moving their lips in English Now, I saw something in a film called Barbarella that made me laugh my head off. I thought it was such a clever joke. Something that I call meta ultra realism. And what happened was, and I'll just show people on screen. Right, so Jane Fonda plays. You would like the film Barbarella. I don't know if you've seen it, Wojtek.
No,
The 1960s film with Jane Fonda in. It was based on this comic book. Oh, let's get it. Here it is. Which was based on a French comic strip. It's based on this.
Oh, now I think I read something about that. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, about Barbara, and it's got all the little dots there. The thing is about this is, I'll just get that in focus. Get it a little bit of white, and then it should focus back. Right. So she goes to this planet. She meets this guy. He's all blah, 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 blah. Right. He's all talking fine. Right. She says, "Oh, I'll use my tongue box," and then he goes, and the look on his face is, it's called it the tongue box, where he goes, the way he touches his mouth, the tongue box makes him speak English. And that is why his lips are in sync. And then I wrote a footnote in my novel about the French would love to have such a device for their national dream of making everyone speak French.
Yes. Oh, that's a fun bit. I mean, usually you have a passive device like the Babelfish or the Star Trek translators, but the lip syncing is still a problem with that idea. But I mean, in a visual device, you can't get around it. You can.
Oh, you can. You can. What you do is you have them do it in Alien, and then you overdub it.
Yes.
That's what I would do.
Yes, but it somewhat limits the.
I know, but tough. Tough. I'd do it anyway.
They did it in Enterprise, the new Star Trek series, the newest one, the prequel series to Star Trek. I don't know if you ever saw that.
Yeah, they had an interpreter there.
They have,
but they never overdubbed.
In the first season, they have an interpreter, and communication is a problem. So they did it, but they kind of abandoned that. And I guess because it's too. I mean, you have to make a believable alien speech, and when you have so much episodes and so much aliens, you would have to come up with a believable language that also the actors can deliver in a believable way.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's probably difficult.
Yeah, I like Jeffrey Combs as Shran, and he would have been on the next season of Star Trek Enterprise. Now, I hated the series until season 4 when they actually got Manny Koto in, and it actually became good in the final season of Star Trek Enterprise. Then it became actually good.
Yes.
Now, the acting was still disgusting, but the stories were good. They had those good three-parters, and they went into the depth of the Vulcan culture. I like that.
Yes, exactly.
The Noonians sing, and they brought in Data to play him. I love those.
They did a lot of fan deliverance.
Pardon?
They did a lot of fan deliverance in season 4.
Yeah, because
they knew they are getting cancelled, so they said, fuck it, and they make it for the fans.
Yeah, but you see, the thing is, though, the producer at the time, Manny Koto, was a huge Star Trek fan. The other ones weren't Star Trek fans. The other producers were not the massive Star Trek fans.
You know that they are making a new Star Trek series. It will come out 2017, and I mean, unfortunately, J.J. Abrams will be participating in that. nothing against his movies, but they are not Star Trek movies. I mean, that's the problem. There are nice sci-fi action adventure stories, but they are not Star Trek. I mean, he killed the Vulcans.
What?
He kills off the Vulcans in the first movie. I can't forgive that.
Wojtek, you're an INTP, not an INTJ. You should not be that. I think that's such a metaphor for INTJs, where they're actually like got all these emotions deep down, like a volcano of emotions, and on the surface they're sort of like placid. So the perfect metaphor for INTJs.
Yes, I mean, I loved the Vulcans when I was a kid. Like the whole thing is part, of course, and I always wanted to see more episodes with Vulcans in it because there was this whole race that was rational in this whole universe that was about.
I've just seen something. If you read through this, I can find.
So this is the only story where Sutherland doesn't appear, right? Garrett Thomas has his hand to his neck in order to hide a scratch he received from a cat during cruise lunchtime.
That's probably not true. That's probably not true. That.
Yeah. Maybe cat is an euphemism. If you catch my meaning.
All right.
Kelly is 18% Finno in this episode.
Yeah, I put the smiley face because I found that funny.
Is this some? I mean, she wasn't. I mean, she's a very thin person.
Yeah, but she's not dangerously thin. She's not like ooh.
No, but I mean, she's slender.
Yeah.
A ship with a demagnetized hull can pass through the magnetic barrier unharmed. Yeah, why don't they have this magic magnetic barrier that can destroy any ship that goes through on Earth or on any other system of the Federation? Like, this planet Horizon is like the most technologically advanced planet in the whole Federation. They have this surveillance thing going on. They have this shield barrier, ship-destroying shield barrier around the whole system, and but they are mining with pickaxes.
Well, that's Blake 7 for you.
Yeah.
Right, and then do you remember Ensign Rowe in Star Trek? Was she
Of course. Well, I loved Star Trek. Next Generation.
Was she proportioned like Power Girl?
No. Ensign Rowe was rather slender body, I would say.
Okay.
She was this Bajoran crew member.
Okay.
And they mine Monopassium 239 there. Okay, that's an element that doesn't exist and would probably be unstable like shit. But
well, it is radioactive.
It is radioactive. I mean, there are some theories that there will be some elements which might be stable at a certain point, but with this mess, but whatever. The lights on this oriented doubtless be more effective if they were in front of Blake and Jenna rather than behind them. Well, we don't know what this machinery does.
Exactly.
I mean, this probably the effect that it has is probably not because of the lights. It's probably some electromagnetic whatever.
Yep.
So yeah, I didn't have a problem with that. The Blake 7 Appreciation Society named themselves after this episode.
That's true.
Why?
I don't know. That's why they put it there.
One wonders what they saw in it. Yes. There's also an adult service website for. Oh god, yeah, I remember reading that. When you showed me this. There's also an adult service website for like-minded fans called Headhunter, and a crossover BDSM Blake 7 club called Power Play, based in Granham. If you are interested, that's disturbing to say at least.
I thought this. I don't know if you find it as funny as I did that bit there about the drinks.
Oh, I don't remember stuff like this. I mean, there are gadget drinks, if they're green or clear or whatever.
But the thing that amuses me is that Villa drinks some green book you up-o. It meaning that it's a drink that books you up. Book you up-o. Adrenaline and Soma books you up.
What's clear? I mean, they're
like water. Water's clear.
Oh, okay, yeah. But yeah, they're
so they just call it. He has some clear. He has some green. He has some red. Like there's a video with Hannah where she has some red.
Ah, yeah.
She said it was wine, but it could have been anything. It was just red liquid.
No, I mean,
she had a glass of red.
I saw that one actually, or at least I saw it in your YouTube list. I think it was wine. Wine has like more this dark red color to it, and the drink that she had was
very red.
Very red, like very clearish red. It was, I guess, something else, but you can ask her.
Probably not blood. She's not that kind of NF.
She could pull off a vampire. She has the facial features for it. Like she's quite pale, and she has this. She could do a vampire.
Okay, I must remember not to show this video to Hannah.
Why? It's not an insult. It's
okay, fair enough.
Vampires are cool. So,
okay.
This is not the highest number of drinks seen in one episode. That honor belongs to Gambit, which has something like 9. Interesting tidbit.
Here we go.
Yes. Why in Blake 7 world have there been no technological advances in mining? It's always peasants with crude tools and wicker baskets. Yeah. Yes. Why? I mean, they would have to have a set of heavy mining machines. They would either have to go into a real mine or have to prop up something. So that's the reason why. But
yeah.
Still, Blake's patronizing attitude towards the other miners as they gobble their lunch is infuriating. I didn't think so. I
agree. I mean, what I mean is the way he could deliver those lines, Gareth Thomas, where he could like take charge like that, was like amazing.
Yeah,
he just showed his charisma.
Yes. And he had this charisma, and I mean, this hungry, starved, overworked slaves listen to him. And that's one scene where his main power is shown, like this genius for leadership. And there are other points in this series like that where it's delivered very well. Like.
And what also was noted in the episode, and what the Liberation book mentions, is as soon as the posh princess wants to get some food, they all move away so that she can get the food, to sort of show that like how much of a class feudal type structure they had even before the Federation arrived.
Yes, I guess they showed that scene just to show that she was someone special, but I mean, we already knew that. But yeah. Yes, where Blake and still are topless, but Jenna is still fully clothed.
Yeah, and I've put in in red. Yes, why? Jeff and I want a good reason. Yeah, and this bit's true. Actual British female miners were topless in the 19th century.
Yeah.
Because it was so hot in the mines.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know about this bowler hat by the main door. I don't know about that. That's another one of those.
I don't know. As I said before, I don't notice such thing.
And the swamp creature, that bit's not true. Its inclusion in the scene with Gan seems costly.
What is this about? There was no swamp creature.
I know, that's what this book like. It's like, it looks like it just puts in bits that are just total BS. And it's like, if you're a fan of Blake 7 and like you've just watched the series, you know, it's like spot the bullshit bits in this book.
Like they make this episode appear more interesting. They just, I mean, it's so boring. They just make stuff up.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you have to. Sometimes it becomes annoying, but like if you have other Blake 7 books and it's like spot the bullshit, spot the thing that's bullshit, it can become quite interesting, but it also sometimes can become infuriating. It's like, is this true? Is this not? Are they playing a trick on me?
Yeah, but like, I mean, you have to rethink about the episodes when you read something like this. Swamp creature? What swamp creature? Did I miss something?
That's why I love this phrasing here. When it's the swamp creature is an element from Fry's original script. Its inclusion in the scene with Gan seems costly.
By the way, I read some background recently, and Gan is supposedly a genetically engineered human for strength.
Who is? Gan?
Gan, yeah.
No. Gan was just Gan was probably some kind of rapist.
Yeah.
And that's why he had a limiter.
But I mean, at least that would make sense. Like, if you would be his place in the series, because you don't need a strong man in a sci-fi setting. You need it in a classical, like, I don't know, Jason and the Argonauts, or something like this, or Hercules, where you need a physically strong guy to beat up the evil ones.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that when we review the next episode about the function of Gan.
Yes.
How useful a character he is.
Yes. So let's leave it for next episode. Avon's near treachery is terrific stuff for Darrow. It would have made for an All Might upheaval to this music. That would be so great if Avon just flew away, and the next season would be like Avon alone on the Liberator, and it's just him for several episodes. That would be hilarious. And okay, I mean, actually, they could have done something like this and just have parallel plot lines. Like, we would see the rest of the crew either on Horizon. Yeah, they could build up the resistance on Horizon. And I mean, it would make sense story-wise, because that was what Blake wanted to do.
So yeah, it would have become very boring, though, to like...
Oh, they could... I mean, no, that could be very interesting, because you could make like a character plot for Avon where he realizes that he doesn't want to be alone, or that he really needs the others. Like, he comes into situations where he really could use someone who can cheer him up, like Vila. I mean, there's this whole relationship between Avon and Vila's hate-love relationship, and that could be a nice characterization of Avon. And Blake doing something with his abilities, like organizing an resisting planet, a resistance cell on this planet, could be interesting. I mean, I don't know what Villa or Jen could do on the planet, or Kelly for that matter, but yeah. It didn't happen. And that's the other one. Okay.
Oh,
So why are we meant to care about what happens to Ro and his little lady? Prior scripts makes them more important than the Liberator crew. All the scenes with them both in peril aren't achieving anything, especially since the Liberator crew has already made it back to the ship alive. What scenes where they are in peril?
I'll show you. It was right at the end where they take her, where they're giving her, that they're torturing her for information. Remember that?
Yeah.
The two guys dressed in the maroon Nehru jackets.
Yes. Yeah, but okay, that was just her. I mean, Ro wasn't really. I mean, okay, they planned to kill him, but I don't know. That wasn't like something that put me off. I mean, they were the main protagonists, or at least Ro was the main protagonist of this whole episode. So it makes sense to give him to put him also in danger. But he wasn't really like. I mean, okay, he's meant to wanted to kill him, but like, what is this power structure on this planet anyway? Like, are the guards Federation or are they
Federation. They're dressed in Federation uniforms.
Yeah, but are they like rural reformed natives or are they from some other Federation planets? Because I'm asking that because I mean, if they are natives, they would probably follow their leader, follow their native leader. If they are Federation, then he has no real power in this palace.
That's the thing. There'll be Federation guards.
Yeah.
Because like when you saw them, when they're like, you saw some Federation guards with the natives, and it was the natives that used the blow darts.
Yes.
At the beginning.
Yeah, this could be again like that were natives that were trained by the Federation, and there were just some non-trained natives accompanying them. But yeah.
Oh yeah. And then we got and yeah, Blake changes his clothes, but not Jenna, the girl.
Again, I couldn't notice this.
You didn't notice?
They could like have a different costume in each scene, and I probably wouldn't notice. Like, I don't know. What was Blake wearing again in this episode?
Blake was wearing some silly green top, I think, and then he was topless, and then he was wearing a white top.
Yes. So closing shop with Villa blacked up. It beats work.
And then we got oh yeah, then we got that delightful dialogue that I showed before. No.
I didn't hear that. I lost you there.
Oh, he says, "No, I am not. I am not expendable. I am not stupid, and I am not going."
Yes. That's a good Avon line.
Yeah, and then in one of the new audios, he plays. He says, like, now Paul Darrow is even more like, he's like Avon on steroids now, because he like really delivers his lines with emphasis. So he says, "Ulrich, I am impressed a bit."
No, I mean, Avon steals the show in like 7. It's supposed to be about Blake, the namesake of the series, but really it's about Avon.
Say no more. And then we got Amateur Hour.
Yeah. Why did they not hear the cameras that were coming out of the woods? And
Do you know why? Because they put the sound on afterwards.
yes, that's probably true. Plants rise in spaces. God knows. Hang on. Space pickaxes. Yes, again with the pickaxes, but they are right. Yeah, it's. But I mean that. Yeah, I mean I guess that's the limitations of having a budget in a sci-fi series. I mean for the beginning of the 80s, ending of the 70s, the rendered sequence of the intro is quite impressive.
Sorry, which sequence?
The intro of Blake. The intro of Blake 7. The new intro from I think it started in the 2nd season. It's a computer-generated rendering, and that's it's kind of strange. They put like 2 intros, one after the other, now in the 2nd season. Like the first.
Oh, that was on the DVD. That was on the DVD, Wojtek.
Okay.
They took it off the DVD. There was about.
It was original. I was wondering about it.
Yes, this was about 2004. Flipping heck.
Okay, then it's horribly cheap for 2004.
Yes, because. But what they did do, the first time they used CGI, I think, was maybe in the closing credits of Tripods in 1984, and they used it a little bit in 1987 on the intro sequence of Doctor Who. I think it was Cow Video, because that had some CGI components in 1987.
Yeah, I mean, Tron had the first full-length rendering.
Tron was a little bit, because I got the Tron DVD and I've listened to the commentary. A lot of Tron was classical animation, and then they would actually point out and say, okay, well, this is the real computer animation, and they would combine both techniques of old-fashioned animation and the proper computer-generated animation. And they talked about on the commentary about just how difficult it was and how lengthy it was to do the computer graphics on Tron, which was made, folks, in about 1982.
Yeah, I mean it's textureless 3D object, at least it's that, with some glossy effects. But I mean, okay, it was impressive for back then. And it takes a lot of rendering time. I mean, I'm now looking into some rendering stuff because I'm planning to get involved in some game development. But I mean, it's impressive how this moves on. I mean, now games are pretty much photorealistic. Not yet there, but pretty much compared to what you could play like 10 years ago. I mean, 10 years ago was 2006, and that was okay. I don't want to get on tangents here. How long are we recording, by the way?
Yes, we can keep on going. What we can do is, what I think we might do in future is we could split the reviews. So, for instance, I might do separate reviews with you with Jeff, because I think the way the sound works.
Yeah, every time I get into a hangout with Jeff, it doesn't work because of some weird technological issues, and I would like to have more of that because Yeah, okay. So yeah, go on.
What we could do is, because with Jeff, I don't go through this book in depth because it's a very end book. Like loads of, like, they do a lot of reading in this book. So what we could do a different way, because we're both abstract types. And so this is what I do: is I compare the cast list in Maximum Power to this, the proper list, to find out which of the bullshit cast members that never were in it. Sometimes it's obvious that it's a joke, but other times not so much. So what we can do here, what we can do is go through the. So I'll let you read that out. Not read it out, but like in your mind, and then you can comment on it.
Okay.
If you read it silently to yourself, and then comment on that first paragraph.
I think I can read out loud, because
Okay.
if anyone watches this, then it's always a problem to read it from YouTube.
Okay.
So, the analysis of Horizon. Horizon was written by Allan, an award-winning novelist with an extensive track record in television script writing. Yes, I thought so much, because it was a very episodic format. It was like a story that someone came up with that was integrated into the series. Like it was very different. It was quite different from the rest, and it didn't have much to do with the main storyline. Like Severland was not in it. It was originally planned as the eighth episode of the season, and was put back to the fourth when another Death Squad fell through. What Death Squad?
It means it was a story that never happened. That's why you've never seen it, because it never was made.
Ah, okay. So, is there some material on the missing episodes in this book? What they
No, that was an episode that was planned, but they never made it.
Yeah, and are there some?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, they could have, but no, they've not. They've not printed the script on Death Squad.
Oh.
In the book.
Okay.
I mean, maybe that would be a separate publication, the missing scripts of Blake 7. That would be quite interesting to read.
Yeah, because I think that there are like blanks in the story, like some things put me off, like something is missing in between. Like, okay, although the script has some very good lines, parts of it are artificial and contrived, possibly due to the fact that the rewrite had to be done hastily in order for it to be completed by its new earlier recording date. I didn't think so much. Like, it was okay. I mean, the deliverance of it was okay. Then you censored out some spoilers, I guess, as a consequence of his late addition. However, he is in the story only very perfunctorily, although he draws his gun and lungs snarling at some guards in one scene. He's otherwise very much a fifth wheel. Avon?
No, please don't mention who it's referring to.
Ah, okay, yeah. The script furthermore shows signs that it would have benefited from going through another draft. At the beginning, there are 3 separate reasons given for the crew to go down to Horizon. Blake's curiosity. It's not curiosity. I mean, it's Blake has a real plan. You should point it out that Blake has reasons for going to Horizon. Logical, rational reasons. Blake's curiosity, the fact that Kelly thinks the crew needs a rest. Yes, then no. Why would they go on a Federation colony to get some rest? I mean, they.
Well, they didn't know that. They didn't know. I mean,
they did know that because the transporter was going there, so it was probably.
That's true.
And it had this overpowered shield around the whole system that destroys ships. So it's probably something important to the Federation. So why? Yeah. Base Curiosity Kelly thinks that the crew needs a rest, and Blake's belief, never evidenced before or afterwards, they need a base. Yes, exactly. Yeah. As the first reason alone would have sufficed, the general impression is no, is that the writer was trying out several possible ideas and not really satisfied with any of them.
You see, that's what I mean. That's an example of how they just read stuff in, these writers.
And I don't agree with that, because like it makes sense. I like it when the series when the plot makes sense to me. Like, for example, Blake has his reasons to go down there, and the others just follow him. Avon is against it, of course, and he tries to manipulate the others into mutiny, but they just do what Blake tells them, and this shows how much of a leader he is, and how I think they are also too tired to go against Blake in this decision. I mean, this whole tired theme came up, and I think they are just like, yeah, whatever.
You see, Blake's biggest ally, most important ally, is the fact that the only person who can pilot the ship is Jenna, and Jenna likes Blake.
Yes. Why does she like Blake so much, by the way?
I don't know. Why do we like Power Girl? It's an ultimate given, isn't it?
Yes. So she's into Blake, you think? Like, she secretly loves, admires him.
It's not Wojtek. You should.
I didn't see the first
introvert. Okay, fair enough. But introverted sensing should be developed by now. You notice these things. But yeah, if you watch the first season, in fact, that would be fantastic, because then I can start reviewing them with you from the beginning.
So I don't quite remember what her motivation was for following Blake.
She likes Blake. Jenna likes Blake, and there's scenes like...
Yeah, but like, do you risk your life for something that you kind of like? No, it must be like she either loves him or idolizes him.
It's also, where did they go? It's like, it would be different if they were on some crappy 2-bit ship, but they are on the best ship in the galaxy.
Yes, and as long as they're on the ship, they are practically invincible.
Yeah.
But now they go off the ship on a planet where they risk their life. Why is Jenna not objecting? Or I mean, she's a pilot. Her natural habitat is the ship. So, well, I don't know.
You get this groupthink where people get
yes,
where they start looking out for each other, and
yes.
You have a thing where
that is really happening. You can see that, and Avon is totally irritated by that, and he doesn't understand it.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you have there, it might be an example of, you got a supervision relationship where Blake is ENFJ and Avon is INTJ, and Blake just always seems to have this edge on Avon, this psychological edge, and you can see that really irritates Avon, just like in real life between ENFJ and INTJ.
Yes.
But it's like, you charismatic bastard.
Yes, exactly. And this is one thing that is well done in the series, where you see that Avon does not get why Blake is so popular and so successful with making the crew following him. He constantly, like, he thinks he's a genius, and he probably is. When it comes to be a leader, an inspirational person.
Well, Blake is. I mean, it's not like Blake is just some charismatic dummy. He really is somebody who is of.
Yes, and you never are quite sure how manipulative he is. Like, if it's just something Blake does, or like, is he actually very subtly manipulative?
Oh, it mentions things like that in this book. It
Yes.
mentions things like that in this book. Like, yeah, he is.
Like, for example, when they go down on the the living planet, was that before this episode or is it afterwards? The living planet thing.
Which planet?
The living planet thing.
Oh, the living planet is the one after the next episode.
Okay. So I won't talk about that.
No.
So,
Right, so we're on this one now. We're on. So we're going through things in depth. I think you were reading that out, and then signs of.
Yeah. So Vila reacts to adrenaline and soma, the latter being the drug of choice for someone, like he's never had them before. But after a few minutes later, a conversation between Blake and Kelly suggests that the crew have been dosing themselves with this combination of drugs regularly. Yes, but maybe not Vila. Maybe they just drugged themselves, but they didn't give anything to Vila because they thought he might get a drug problem with like this. So you never know.
Yeah, maybe they read the Enneagram book and they thought, oh, he's an Enneagram 7. Watch out.
Yeah. No, I mean it's obvious that Vila has a problem, like with. I mean, in the shadow, he goes off and gets drunk and probably is with some prostitutes or whatever, and so it's probably not the best idea to give him recreational drugs. The idea of the crew all going down to the planet one or two at a time is very contrived. In particular, Kelly, who has apparently undergone a metamorphosis from a guerrilla fighter into Florence Nightingale. I kind of remember this. Like, Kelly was actually a resistance fighter.
Yeah.
She was.
Also, they need to remember about Florence Nightingale is that Florence Nightingale wasn't an actual nurse. She was an administrator of hospitals. Someone like Mary Seacole, who people do not know about Mary Seacole. Have you heard of Mary Seacole, Wojtek?
No.
Right. Mary Seacole was a half Scottish nurse from Jamaica who went over to, and she was in the, I think she was in the Crimean War, and she was actually a nurse, and she was hugely popular in Victorian England. And she remember she's like half black, and I think they called her the yellow woman or something, or the brown woman. And she was a personal friend of Queen Victoria. And only recently did they name like a nursing college in London, the Mary Seacole College of Nursing. So yeah, if you Mary Seacole, like C as in that blue thing that wobbles, Seacole, Mary Seacole, yeah. Whereas Florence Nightingale was a hospital administrator. So it was like she was like written, but at the time, in the actual Victorian age, Mary Seacole was very, very famous.
What was she famous for? Like, what was
being a nurse, because she was a West Indian nurse that went over to the Crimean War and cared for the soldiers.
Okay, so like a saint figure.
Yeah. Whereas someone like Florence Nightingale, what she was, and I think she may have invented the pie chart.
Okay.
She used it to demonstrate the effect of. Now, she didn't actually believe in the contagion theory of germs. She just knew that clean hospitals reduced the number of illnesses. and she came up with pie charts to show that. So she was a hospital administrator that was like, get these hospitals clean, but she actually didn't believe in the actual theory of contagion.
Sounds very STJ, like, yeah, theory, whatever, but we have to be clean, we have to have order.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the point they are making here is correct, that Kelly, I think the writers didn't know what to do with her. We have this we have the telepath, and they don't really use her powers. I mean, there was this Auric thing, but as I said before, it's very like out there. Like they just invented it to give her something to do. I mean, in this episode, she used her powers to manipulate Ro further. Okay, that made sense. That was a good use of the character. But like, she is like the fifth wheel there, somewhat. They don't really do much with her.
It's tricky with telepaths because you made in a comment about rules of magic. You got to have rules, like in Babylon 5, and apparently the name Alfred Bester was the name of the real author that wrote novels about telepaths, where J. Michael Straczynski came up with all these rules of, if you're going to have telepaths, you're going to have rules, because there's going to be a load of situations where it's like the audience would go, well, why didn't you read a mind? What it is with Callie is she can't read people's minds. She can sort of communicate. She can like put her voice into somebody else's mind, and then she's also an NF. That's pretty much how she comes in. So she's an NF who can put her thoughts into somebody else's thoughts. That's her special power.
Her power is being an NF. Yes. Yeah, I mean, in this universe, in this Blake 7 universe, it's very dark and very, what's the English word? Things don't go well there. It has no heart. Like, so they could do more with Kelly, with this NF character.
Oh yeah.
Like the heart of the ship, or the conscious, or whatever. But they don't do that quite often. So she appears to have lost her mind, insisting on going down to Horizon, even though she knows that Blake is most likely in trouble, simply in order to give him a sheet of prison records, which would seem very useless under the circumstances. I liked the scene where she acts like such an NF, where she argues with Avon. I have to go down. It's the right thing to do, and so okay. But yeah, it does not make sense. Like, what I mean, they lose contact with Blake, so he's probably captured, or even dead. They don't know at this point, I think. Anything could be going on. She is going down to give him a sheet of paper. I mean, we as the watchers of the episode know what's going on, so it makes more sense to us, because actually he needs this sheet of paper. So you could argue she knew that because she's psychic. So she had a very strong feeling that Blake needs his paper at this moment. You could go with that. The script is not, however, entirely without good points. The scene in which Kelly plays the mystic under integration is excellent, yes. Although she pretends to be reading the commissar's mind, we know that she's incapable of doing this to non-telepaths at this point, and so simply feeding back the information she obtained from the prison's execution records. Yeah, right. She conducts up psychological games similar to the Commissar's, only in reverse, whereas he claims that Mrs. belongs to Rose's tribal path. She plays on Rose regular characters acquire somewhat. She plays on Rose believes sending to him telepathically or to reinforce her message. Yes. They did this quite well. I mean, she plays the mystic and knows that in this role she would speak to Ro, who probably, I mean, we won't go with the cliche of the savages, the bloody savages. You probably like that. It's a British thing. But so he would be susceptible to such things. Once again, the regular characters acquire some new backstory. In this case, the fact of having met one of Rose's friends on board the London. Okay, I couldn't remember if this was actually seen on the show or not, but
no, they didn't show that. No.
But let's just go with that. Federation Central Control mentioned in the previous episode also crops up here. What? Mentioned in okay, Federation Central Control mentioned in the previous episode also crops up here. Avon and Blake are well characterized. Yes. Blake is concerned about his crew and shows an interest in. Blake is concerned about his crew. How so?
Well, he needs them.
Yes, but concerned about his crew is like showing.
Oh yeah. Wait a minute. I remember now. Remember what he says at the end, where he says, "Take me and let them go."
Oh,
because he knows because he's realised that if we stay in these mines, we're going to die of radioactivity, of radiation poisoning from this Manapasium 239.
Yeah, that's true.
So
when there was also the scene where they both get interrogated and tortured, and the commissar sees that he can't break Blake. But if he threatens his followers, he will probably give up. But then again, in this scene, wasn't there like Blake didn't react to the torturing, and the commissar said something like, "So you really do not care about them?" I kind of remember there was something like that going on. So yeah, I'm not sure if Blake really cares about his crew. He doesn't like show that much. He brings them in one dangerous situation after the other, even under their protest. He just has his ideas and makes them follow them. So I don't know. Avon and Blake, blah blah blah, indicating that the old Blake is still present in some degree. Oh yes, there was this whole mind wiping thing. This is something I don't remember it exactly. Like Blake, was he remembering at the end, or is he still mind wiped? Like to some degree, he remembers his past.
Oh, I think they might. When they talk about old Blake, they might be referring to season A.
Oh, okay.
Because here, the book thinks that Blake's getting more hardcore in this season. Like, for instance, in the second episode, is willing to do a deal with the Cosa Nostra.
Yeah.
With the drugs, with Shadow, and he gets more extreme in season B. Now, this here, because I remember reading it in a book called Science Fiction Audiences, and I think they actually pointed out that there was a lot of. Do you know about slash fiction?
Is it like trash fiction or?
No, I think it's like this like this fiction where fans would read things that weren't there and sort of make it their own. And I think gay fans of Blake 7 created this slash fiction where they thought there was a...
Whoa, okay, so Avon is into Blake. No. No, it's not there at all. I mean, Avon is in awe of Blake's ability to lead people, but that's all.
Yeah, I know, that's what I mean. I mean, that's what they talk about with slash fiction. They created their own fiction based on those two characters in which they were gay.
Oh my god!
Remember they wrote remember this did stuff for Star Trek. You would have women writing stories about being in love with Spock, and you know what it would be. Obviously, in hindsight, female NT is in love with Spock.
Yeah, I read actually some fan fiction for Andromeda, Descendant, the series of Gene Roddenberry, where they did a thing where two main characters are actually gay, like, and it makes absolutely no sense, but it was there and it was very graphic, so I still remember it, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, yes. I mean, they could read something like that between Vila and Avon, maybe. Like, there is at least potential for that. That could be made like a romantic relationship. But Blake and Avon, no.
What you will see, though, is so far to now is the only person that Avon has any kind of affection for is Callie, and Callie has.
He has affection for Callie?
Yeah, Callie the NF. Because there is a relationship. There's a benefit relationship between INTJ and INFP.
Yes, when we use Type Fury, but like in the really in the series.
Yeah, in the series, there's little things between Callie and Avon.
Like he constantly makes fun of her. He treats her like he treats Vila. Like,
yeah, in this story, but there is a little bit of affection between. But you see, Avon has a messed up attitude towards women. Is a theme throughout the whole series of violence against women, and because of not just for its own sake, but because of the way he's been treated. Anyway, various circumstances, and there's stuff to be revealed. But yes, there's a little bit of attraction between Avon and Callie.
Okay.
Not you didn't really see it in this episode, but it's there.
I take your word for it. As I said, I didn't saw the first season this time, and I'm not finished with the second. But I will keep an eye on that now that you mentioned it. When talking about reading the rest of the crew, he refers to them as Blake and the others. Avon is still thinking about running away, but then electing to stay behind in the crisis. Yes, and I mean that, as I said before, that was quite well done because he shows like conscience here. Like this is when we go to personality theory, the FI and the INTJs that creeps in some situations. Because you said he just does the numbers, but he doesn't. Like, I mean, it would be more beneficial to him if he would have left at this moment. And just, I mean, when he goes...
Yeah, but he wouldn't have survived, though, because he was coming up against 3 pursuit ships. and so he couldn't. His hand was forced because remember, Aurak said, and Avon asked him assuming we do everything right, how many attack pursuits? And Aurak says all but 3. And then when he says 3 pursuit ships are attacking and they'll be in here in 2 hours, Avon thinks, shit, I can't beat 3 pursuit ships. I need the others.
No, but it doesn't have to be good. There's one array that run away. They did it before because they have this super fast ship that can go warp 20 when the Federation ships can only go a certain speed. So
yeah, no, that's what we'd be thinking. Yes, but maybe they've got quicker, the Federation ships.
Yeah, but I mean, space is big, and in a later episode, they actually run from several fleet. Can I say that? Yes. So there are several situations where they run away from more than 3 ships. So they,
yeah, I remember. Yeah. Well.
So I really think why I'm doing this that it was more of a conscience decision than a rational decision.
Well, maybe unconsciously, yes. A little bit of FI in there.
So Avon is still thinking about running away, but Ro and the Commissar are also well written and well portrayed. True. Darien Angadi has a frail, transculent quality that adds to the vulnerability of Ro's character.
You know what else adds to the vulnerability of Ro's character? The fact that he's got the body of like a 12-year-old. He's got very small clothes.
Yeah, I mean
he's quite frail looking.
He is supposed to be weak, to be portrayed as a weak person. I mean, he has a weak personality that the Commissar is taking advantage of, which is probably the reason for him being chosen as the puppet ruler in the first place, which makes sense.
He's almost puppet-sized.
Yeah.
And the guy who manipulates him is not very big either, the actor William Squire. I love the voice. What did you think of the voice of the Commissar?
It was very good. I mean, it was very good for this role.
Yeah, fantastic. And it's like that bit where he goes, Blake and his crew are the most wanted criminals in the galaxy. I thought that was because that was used on the DVDs. They did like a trailer for season 2, and they used that clip of Blake and his crew are the most wanted criminals in the galaxy, and it's just a great theatrical voice.
Yes, and he transports this snobbish attitude, and probably only a British actor can do this right, of being superior. This
right.
And the belief, and he's a firm believer. Like you get this. He's a firm believer in the system.
Yes.
Even when he admits to Ro that he wanted to kill him, it was like just I wanted to kill him, but now you are doing what's right anyway. So what's right for the Federation, for the bigger system. He is, and that was very well portrayed.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to believe in something when the thing that you believe in is very beneficial to you.
Yes, but then again, I mean, the Commissar is not he's not the highest tier in the hierarchy of the Federation.
Oh no, it's not. No,
he's he gets sent to this rather border planet that. And I mean, probably posts like this are something to get people rid of, to get rid of people, like people who are either not very qualified or that someone has an issue with in the hierarchy. So they sent him. I mean, he's supposed to be the replacement of the guy who was 2 years there. So probably he will stay also several years on this remote planet. So either he wasn't very popular with some people back at the Federation Corps, or he's a fool and they can afford him. I'm reading into it, but
yes, that's what N-types do. They read in.
So
oh yes, I had a thought. What we can do, Wojtek? Really cash in. As soon as Game of Thrones episode is available, me, V, and Jonathan Campbell, who are watching it, getting out a fantastic review video.
Yes.
Right, because we can get that in there. Game of Thrones, review, get some more views on my channel.
We will play the fantastic Game of Thrones intro at the beginning.
The intro. We might get done if we play the intro, but the best intro for Game of Thrones. You may have showed me the link to it. It's the VHS intro. They're done in the 80s style.
Oh yeah, that was fantastic. They did it right. Like yes, that is what it would look like. Like this cheap, cheesy, and that shows how good Game of Thrones is because it is not that in any way.
I do not like the intro sequence of Game of Thrones from the point of view of it doing the job of explaining who is who, and I mean, yes, it has those little things in different areas.
As an N-type, you have a lot of symbolism where they tell the story that happened before with all the symbols that are flashing up there. Like they tell the story with the animal totems of the houses. Like first, there's a war between the stag and the dragon, and at the end, the dragon is the king, and the wolf and the lion and the others are looking up to him. In the small flashes where they show this strange apparatus thing.
Yeah, and also I didn't like the fact that I was slightly irked by the fact, there's an apparatus that doesn't work mechanically. Now, if they'd have actually built it out of wood with proper workings and it really worked, then I would have given it a thumbs up. But I don't like CGI fudging mechanical workings that don't work.
It was a strange choice. I love the music. I really love the music. It says something because I don't listen to music, and the theme of Game of Thrones, I sometimes listen to that. But it was a strange choice to make this weird.
It was. I know why they did it. It did it because the person that did it wanted to win an award for him. So it's like, here's the guy that did that award, rather than what I would have done, which was concentrated on the families, showing who. Let's contrast it with Babylon 5, where they got so much key information out at the beginning of every single season. Right, it would say it would give you the year. This is the year of the Shadow War, and it would show you what happened in previous seasons, show you the whole premise of the series. Well, the Babylon 5 opening sequences,
like with a voiceover, I think. Yeah.
Do you remember in Babylon 5? In all of the Babylon 5 intros, where it would show, and then you got the actor or actress's name, they've got the character, their name, they're looking at, you've got little clips of them. You got the whole premise of this year. The year is 2259. In the year of the Shadow War.
That makes it epic. It gives it an epic feeling. Yeah, they could have done something like this for Game of Thrones.
Gives you a summary. So, for instance, you could have summarized the previous seasons.
Yeah.
In the year, they come up with the year in Game of Thrones, and like do the broad strokes. Yes, it's old-fashioned, but it gets. You could have a fantastic intro, and also change that a lot. And one of the problems with Game of Thrones is you have a lot of what I would call fannying about in the East. going from city to there to here to mountain. Like it just seems like very repetitive. Moving around, going all these different places, going back.
Yeah, I mean, at least the intro now is showing the world, so you see. I mean, and they change it depending on what's happening in the episode. So you see how far apart the all the places are. Like Daenerys is like at the other end of the world on the other continent, and King's Landing is in the south, and the Winterfell is in the very north, and the wall.
Well, that's the thing. Like, it shows you where Winterfell is, but it then doesn't show like paintings of the family, which is how I would have done it. I would have got a proper portrait artist in.
Because we have like 100 characters, and it would be helpful for viewers to get like the relationships right.
Oh, and not just that. It's like when you have the opening sequence, you have all these actors and actresses' names on. I don't know who plays who, unless I go look it up on the internet. You have all these names coming up. And, oh, thanks for that. That's useful. When you see Sophie Turner's name, who does Sophie Turner play? And then who does Alfie Allen play? And then eventually you find out, oh, Sophie Turner plays that ginger-haired, the tall, good-looking Stark daughter. Whereas if you'd have like done as like old school, like in the like for instance in the 1980s one, it's like Thingy as Thingy, and then it shows clips as them, and they even picked like the clips that were so emblematic of those characters. But yeah, I mean, like things.
That was, I mean, I probably think that was something they wanted to move away from, to not make it this cheesy. Like,
I don't care if it was.
Name of character, and then a scene of this character, like in Babylon films, like where they smile or where they do something that is typical for them, like fighting or being treacherous or being whatever. I mean, okay, they wanted to do something else. I don't
care if it's cheesy. If it's effective, if it gets the job done.
Yeah, I mean, a voiceover would be nice. I think that would be also very epic. Like and then end it with and all together play the Game of Thrones. And they could like quote, I think Cersei was the one who said it, in the Game of Thrones you either win or you die. That's, yeah. They could do this in a voice.
Oh yeah, I mean you could have like in the intro, you could have little things like where I would have in like the intro, a little bit digressive first. We'll get back to Blade 7, where they have a little bit where it says where you have little fingers saying knowledge is power, and then her saying no, power is power. I would have that as a little clip. Have these change the intro sequence. In fact, what I would do is, knowing that there are 10 episodes each season, I would have a slightly different intro sequence for each episode that would emphasize more of the
But they have that. Each intro sequence is slightly...
Yeah, but better. Yeah, I know, but it would be better because I would want to get more exposition in there in terms of visually how these families are related, rather than having to go to the website and finding all those diagrams of such as this, which actually shows who owns which territory.
Yes, that is very useful because
family tree. I mean, just going over the family tree, zooming in, showing the name of the person, going across.
I don't think it's visible in the video.
Yeah, but what I mean is, like, if they did it like that, where you know, yes, it's like pure exposition, but people want to see how they're related, and you could do it all fancy graphics. You could have like the family trees moving around, all three-dimensional effects, going through the family trees, all that kind of stuff.
The three bloodlines, like blood is flowing, and it's the branches of the tree. There is
characters that are dead, all these sorts of things. They could have done all that fancy and all that kind of stuff, and it would have been information and fancy.
Yeah. There's a series, a fantasy series, what's its name? I forgot because it's terrible. I watched the first season of it, and the series itself, it's with elves and trolls, and it's but it's interesting in the way that the setting is. It's actually the real world after an atomic war.
Well, now you said elves and trolls, so INFPs and ENTPs?
Trolls are probably ESTPs, but
okay.
But what I mean, the setting, just to give you some background, the setting is it happens after a cataclysmic war from our time, and after that, humans mutated into these different races, these different fantasy races. But what was great was the intro visually, like they show the bloodlines of these races, and it's really bloodlines. It's a drop of blood that flows down and then separates, and you see then dwarves, elves, whatever, and it's quite genius. But the series is terrible. But yeah, so yeah, they could have done something like this. I mean, it's difficult to get to track which character is related to which.
That's the thing. That is the thing. That's why I would have done it.
And
like
where they are from, and like the Boltons, for example. I mean, what the hell? I mean, where are they from? I mean, they are from the north, but
exactly. You could have done a whole world. So you could have done it as fancy as they did it, where you can sort of like zoom in to an area, have the family tree sort of like in a 3D effect superimposed over it, have portraits that sort of like, so it's like the camera would like fly within the middle of the portraits, so like the family tree, like but also how about this, you could have portraits that were painted, but they also move at the same time.
Exactly, like, I just thought of that. Yes, exactly, like animated drawings.
Yeah. So there's loads of stuff that they could do if they had people if they had NTPs who come up with, like, you're better at implementation than me though, because you work in computer. You could probably do this kind of stuff. You could do a better one and say, "Give me my money." There you go, better intro.
Yeah, but I mean,
You could do this, Wojtek. I believe in you. You could do this.
Alternate intro for Game of Thrones. Now that would be something actually interesting. Yeah. There are a lot of good YouTube videos out there that explain the whole background. I looked them up because I'm INTP and I just eat information wherever I can get it. And it's problematic because you spoil yourself, because you get a lot of information from the books, and then you.
I'll just say, folks, that's for proper INTPs, or also Enya Type 5. For half-bloods, as Wojtek calls me, who's like not an Enneagram 5, not so much. I'm not a proper INTP.
At least you're not a muggle. Muggle born. I mean, where were we? Where did we start this?
I'll go because we were talking about. I think we're talking about intro sequences, and Game of Thrones came up. Yeah. Oh, it was my fault because I mentioned I want to cash in, get more viewers. We'll get reviewing Game of Thrones with Jonathan.
That was the point of digress. What? Okay. The comments are manipulated through, making it look as if Ro has a choice. In fact, he's slanting the decision in favor of the Federation's interest. Yes, I mean, it was a little bit too obvious.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, to me, that's like, how can that be manipulation when it's like so obvious?
Yeah, like it was so. Yeah, yeah, they could have done it better. It was too cliche. I mean, weak guy and this mentor who manipulates him. But yeah, it was okay. It wasn't bad. But
Yeah.
they could have done it better.
But he's young. I mean, he's young. I mean, and the tutor is arrogant. So
Yeah. He urges Ro to act as a ruler rather than a savage. When Ro starts extolling the virtues of pre-Federation culture and praises him whenever he makes the right decision, meaning the decision that the commissar wants. Yes, again, I mean, well, it was okay. He also wrote to bring Selma back from the mines, but remarked patronally that he will regret the choice. The fact that Ro's father is dead means that the commissar, his former teacher, can assume a kind of father figure status, which was nice, which was well portrayed. Although the relationship is purely instrumental from the commissar's point of view. Well,
I think
not quite sure of that. I think he might have.
yes, because right at the end he says, "I thought you were one of us, Ro."
Yes, I think he had like great hopes for Roar and had like real fatherly feelings for him. I mean, he wanted to kill him, but I mean that was because he was a firm boy.
Yeah, I would have made the change if I was script editor. I would have worked with the writer and said, "Hey, put a scene in where you see that the commissar's morally conflicted, where he decides, oh, I've got to kill this guy, but I don't really want to kill him because he's like a son to me." I would have put a little bit of that in.
I mean, it's somewhat displayed in a more subtle way when he tells Ro that he wanted to kill him.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
This is the moment where he where he thinks he's one of them after all. When he believes that Ro sees the greater importance of things, and
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
in the scene in which the commissar describes resistance as a genetic aberration, he's plainly lying.
Well, we don't know that. You see, this is what I mean about this book. It would just make these assumptions.
Yeah. I mean,
Right.
it's something that the commissar could believe in himself. Like, he would really believe that resistance, because he's a firm believer in the system, and resistance must therefore be in some sort of aberration. Within the Federation that we have seen up until now, it has been acknowledged as a psychological condition, and Blake and his followers all have different reasons for engaging in terrorist activity. Terrorist activity, I don't know. I mean, Avon was doing a heist. Jenna was framed, and Vila was just a thief. I mean, not any kind of terrorist. I mean, now they do this because they follow Blake, but
and another thing is, like, it's just like in real life. A lot of people are in situations because they've not got any other options. They don't have other options.
I mean, there are now criminals that have probably money on their heads, and the Federation is a totalitarian system, so they couldn't like go anywhere in the hope to have normal life somewhere.
And anywhere they could be safe would be so just deathly dull and boring.
I think they would like to have a boring life, especially Vila or maybe the others as well. But I mean, being on the most powerful ship in the system is the safest place to be.
Yep.
The lie, however, makes the Liberator crew seem that much more freakish to Ro, and therefore more deserving of execution, as it then becomes simply the elimination of deviants for the good of society. Yes, I mean, the commissar probably believes in that, but I don't think, like...
That's an example in this book where it says, the lie, however, makes the Liberator crew seem much more freakish to Ro. I mean, that is... It's what this book does sometimes. It's a very deep book. It looks at things very closely, but sometimes they just mention things, like things that make... It's that end thing. It's the thing that Jeff and Morgan complain about, generally with intuiting types, where they will assert something is when it's just an interpretation, a consistent, logical interpretation that fits a pattern, but is not necessarily what is. Like, for instance, that bit there where it says, this lie, however, makes the crew seem more freakish to Ro. We can read that in from the context, but we don't know that that's necessarily true.
Yeah, but like, I'm not annoyed or anything by that, because I know what it is. Someone gives me an idea, I take this idea, I turn it around, I look at it from this angle, and then maybe I decide, yes, they have a point to that, or I decide, no, that doesn't fit.
Right. Oh, I mean that's not...
my own theories.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's just like in other parts of this, but sometimes they have, like, they mention things. Like, I mean, there's episodes later on where they just reason the whole world upside down in their review of certain things. Right.
The Commissar's continual references to training furthermore recall the Soviet and Chinese emphasis of free education. No. I thought about this actually, but especially the Korean re-education, but that's more like what they did to Blake, or what I think Travis went through. He was like re-educated. So that's more like this. The Eastern Asian communism re-education centers. The training is more like getting an education that civilized fatherland to the savage king. I mean, that happened in the British Empire a lot, and I mean they brought up these rulers from these different cultures immersed them in the British European culture and hope that they would see this culture as superior in hope to be in control of them. And that's what's happening here in this episode. So yeah, what the Commissar says in front of Ro and what he actually thinks are two different things. Duh. Equally noteworthy is the fact that the Federation have not simply imposed an artificial hierarchy on the planet. Yes, Ro refers to the enslaved population as consisting mostly of primitives, and Selma even in the mind says, "I'm not one of these people." The primitives hang back to allow her to eat, and it takes Blake to introduce democracy into the system. Horizon, prior to contact with class society.
I think that's fair enough.
Yes. Yeah. The situation on Horizon is, in fact, very much an allegory, thank you, of the British Empire, yes. Not just in Uganda, which may have been the original inspiration for the story. Our planning documents suggest that it concerns Blake getting captured in an Uganda-like society, but also India, yes, and that was what I thought most of, Southeast Asia and elsewhere. The Empire's agent would tend to infiltrate infiltrate local infrastructures rather than impose new ones. Well, infiltrate.
I put a little comment here. My advice for USA foreign policy: infiltrate local infrastructures rather than impose new ones.
Yeah, but I mean, Iraq, that's basically what they are doing.
No, but that was the problem. Is they replaced it when they put a new structure on. That was the problem. Now, what happened with the surge when they did
Saddam
this?
before? I mean, Saddam was also a puppet of the US, and
No, I would have made him a real puppet because I would have gone hardcore on him.
yeah, but I mean, Saddam Hussein was a psychopath.
Yeah, but you see,
dog.
but I would have gone. But you see, I'm without scruples in this area because I would have gone like full mafia. Because I would have made it clear to Saddam, right, that he would have, pardon my language, been my bitch, but he could have Iran.
Yeah, and I think that was the original deal with him. But then he played not by the rules, and that's why they killed him.
Yeah, but you see, I would have kept on the bombing for like any time, just like random, like just destroy a palace. I would have, because the way I would use air power is World War II style, not like proper devastating air attacks.
Yeah, but we can't do that in this area. You're very British.
Yeah, I would do that. The reason why I would do that is because you just see all these things where your troops come back injured and like terribly injured. And my point of view is like two things: one, get the job done, and two, the minimalization of my own casualties. Those are the only two things I would care about.
Yeah, sure, but I mean, you can't do this. There are international laws against such things, yeah, I mean, but that, I mean, that's what I like about this British series is that you drew upon your own history, and then it's not it's not like this typical American style do-gooder perspective, but like, yeah, rational power, rational use of power, like, and no excuses. I read recently the speech of Margaret Thatcher to the European Union in 70-something, I think, where she made a comment like, the history of the British people and of Europe in general, who civilized the rest of the world with no excuses.
Yeah.
She did like this. Yeah, that's her perspective. No excuses. I mean, this civilized is an euphemism because of all the atrocities that were committed by colonizing Africa and South America, but whatever.
Yeah, but like I said, we mentioned in a hangout. It wasn't recorded. That that was the French and Spanish.
Yeah.
They weren't as smart in their imperialism.
Yes.
You see, what happened was, is that Thingy explained this. The Scottish historian Neil Ferguson. It said that the British learnt from the experience with the American colonies, where they were too controlling, and they realised to be less controlling. So, for instance, there was a lot of control given over to Canada, like with the French Canadians and then Australia, and they should have given more control to India and the non-whites colonies. There should have been more. But you see, especially in Africa, the domestic institutions and structures were not ready at the time.
Yes, and I mean, it's cheaper to have the local structures do whatever they want, and you don't have to micromanage. To invest, for example, in modernizing this country. You just you just take control of the ruling elite, and I mean that's what the British Empire did. They just controlled their exterior and the trade and the.
But a lot of those countries were like bad investments because they were only there in order to have a railway line from Cairo to the Cape, because all the British colonies in Africa, a lot of them all joined up. You know, you could get all the countries contiguous next to each other, from South Africa to Egypt. And so a lot of those countries that are in the middle were probably like, well, we don't really need this country, but we need it to fill this gap in the railway line from South Africa to Egypt.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but that's just logistical considerations. I mean, yeah.
I mean, they actually called it the white man's burden and the imperial burden of like, where you actually have a country and you think, why we are putting more into this than we are getting out.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very, very arrogant and disillusionate perspective. But
that's true, though, if you look at the money of it, where it's like, this economy is not really paying off.
The British Empire did get monetary and resource gains out of this.
Oh, yeah, out of India, yes. But a lot of the out of India for sure.
Yeah, and Africa too for the natural resources itself. I mean, that's they wouldn't do that if there wouldn't be a surplus behind.
But like I said, a lot of those countries, it was because you could have the railway lines going through areas. So all the countries were next to it. There would always be a British colony next to it for the railway line from South Africa to the Cape.
Yeah, I think most of it was also prestige. I mean, that you had over these territories, and you never know if you don't discover like natural resources on this territory later on. Or, I mean, it's also room for colonizing, and it's never bad to have a country somewhere in the back of your pocket.
Yeah. Wait, there is the imperial burden, though, of again, if it's a country that's just land, it's not much use, and it's just a burden at a particular stage. It might be an investment in the future, but
also, I mean, there was a rivalry between the colonized powers. So
yes, that was it. You're right.
The others will have.
Right, so. That was the thing. They only why are you taking this? Because the French would get it, and we don't want the French to have it. So, right. But like what I said, I mean, if you suddenly said to the United States, "Oh, you can have the whole of Africa," right? They'll probably go, "Well, even if you offered it to China, they would probably say." Well, the way we're doing it is much better because we just invest in those particular bits that we need rather than having to develop a whole continent and doing all that infrastructure.
Yeah.
Yes, you get the prestige, but when you have to do the whole infrastructure and build it, you remember it, Wojtek. You remember exactly what happened when East Germany was reintegrated into West Germany. How much effort it took, and all the resources.
I mean, it was a country of I don't know, let's say 20 million or something, maybe less, 10 million or something. But it was a huge part and a huge area that was not as much developed as Western Germany. So the investment was enormous, like really billions, about billions. But also, I mean, it was a good deal for West Germany because they had to build all of this stuff. And of course, Western companies, road building companies, all all the industry that was involved in the infrastructure would create jobs and tax income.
Yes, but that, we won't go into the fallacy of the broken window of what they would have done instead of that if that hadn't have taken place. But you can see there where, again, all this, you get the land, but then you got to invest in it and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
anyhow,
it was also they suddenly had a huger market, a huger in a market that they suddenly got access to because all this Eastern European, Eastern Germans wanted to buy stuff. So.
Oh right, yeah. I mean, so for instance, so that's why I say if you offered you an empire in Africa, then you can say, well, it cost you all that money to develop East Germany. How much would it cost you to develop Africa? If suddenly you say, oh, go on, have an empire in Africa, and you probably say, no thanks, too much. Cost is too high.
Yeah, and that's why they didn't develop Africa much. I mean, they just saw that they have a claim on its natural resources and its strategic military positions, but they didn't care for it much.
And in fact, the country that is doing it in the smart way, the cynical way, is China. They're buying up natural resources in Africa.
Yes, I mean, they try to get more involved in Africa, and I mean, the whole industry has a huge hunger for natural resources. It's crazy. It's what they need.
And they've probably got the base of people where they can afford to send loads of Chinese citizens abroad and build up these countries in Africa. And like building cricket stadiums in the West Indies, because you've got this huge base. You have this huge industrial base of development.
Exactly. And that's what they are doing, and you will see more of it in the future. It will be interesting times.
Oh yeah.
Let's not digress further because.
Well, it's not that much of a digression because we are talking about imperialism here, and so for instance here we've got this was absolutely true about the British values, and I mean they took them to. So like I said, I put here. Imperial but not racist to send the children to the best schools in England.
Did I see my name at the side here? What did you write? Wojtek?
Yeah, I put Wojtek picked up on this. British Empire and Roman Empire.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Roman Empire in the sense of divide and conquer, and specifically it was the system of the British Empire with its puppet rulers in the States. Yeah, I mean, it was quite obvious, but I mean, that's why I like British series. As I said, because you drew upon your own history to make the stories, and they are different from what you would expect. Even Doctor Who has like this more unapologetic approach sometimes, and this wouldn't happen in American series, because in American series it always has to be the good guys are fighting for freedom and independence.
Oh, wait. Although that is true in general, but you have watched Battlestar Galactica Mark II.
And that is why it was good, because it was something else. And I mean, that's why Battlestar Galactica was good. It was something else.
Well, the other reason why it was good. Another two reasons why it was good. One, Trisha Helfer, and two, the man who should play the Doctor. Over to you to say his name.
I can't remember Gallus Bolter, the guy who played Gary.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. He would make an excellent Doctor Who. Like he has the wittiness and the goofiness to it. Too.
His natural personality is the Doctor. Just his natural, like you see him in interviews, that's just him.
He's
no
much
effort.
more, he's much more goofy in person than in the series.
Yeah.
But that's the great thing about the Gaius Balog character, where he plays him serious, and that's I love that because this would make him great for Doctor Who, because Doctor Who is this fun adventurer, this fun, somewhat goofy adventurer, but sometimes he makes it clear he is a Time Lord from Gallifrey. And he is like 2,000 years old. Now he is like several billion years old, but that's another thing. But and then there are these little moments where he shows his like other side. And and I think he would be good at portraying that. So where did we left off?
We still got we mentioned the schools. I mean, okay, we can mention that. The Americans used to do a lot of that, and they don't do it as much now because they've not got the economy. But if the United States had a rip-roaring economy, a proper Austrian school economy, they would have enough money where they could pay for a load of schools in countries around the world. And they used to do this. They used to have like things called the American universities, wouldn't they? Where they would teach like American values. And they used to have, and Kennedy had this thing called the Peace Corps, wasn't it? Where Americans would go into other countries. And so, like, again, like all that stuff about, they would go to Africa. It was the Peace Corps from JFK. And so they would do all of these things when fighting the and of course a lot of the Russian socionists think that the United States was sort of like does this because it sort of wanted to, but a lot of these things were like forced on it by circumstances where a lot of these American politicians didn't want to do that. Some of the guys in the military probably wanted to have this huge empire, but it's like a lot of it, again, that was the imperial burden of fighting the Cold War. Where it was like what you said about, oh, we've got to take control of this territory to stop the French, or we've got to put investment in here to stop the Russians and stop the Chinese.
No, that's right. I mean, the Americans themselves are not very imperialistic. They are rather
isolationist.
And they didn't want to interfere all around the world and get pulled into wars they maybe don't want to fight. But yeah, it's circumstances.
Oh yeah, no, like for instance, they had a war with Spain, and because of the war with Spain, they actually got a couple of colonies. They got Cuba, and they got the Philippines, which were colonies of the United States for a while.
They took Texas from the Spanish crown, if I remember correctly.
Ah, whoa, 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 whoa. I got some information on that. Got some information, Wojtek, on that. What happened was, now there may have been some collusion. There may have been some agents from the United States that helped the Texans gain independence from Mexico. But Texas was an independent country for 11 years. It was the Republic of Texas. Now, it's very dodgy about how Texas became part of the United States. Right? But all of that may be academic. Once they then seceded with the rest of the Confederacy, it might have been, well, you know, that's out of the window now because we've taken you back in and it's our rules. Now, all these people that think that states can leave the United States, bullshit. Because if you could, that would be in the Constitution as a selling point. Because I would have sold it like this. You can leave whenever you want. But they never said that when they were selling the... Because what they had, folks, they had a thing called... When they were persuading the states, the sovereign states, to become the United States. They had this thing called the Federalist it was called the Federalist, and it's now called the Federalist Papers, which were all of these series of articles giving reasons for why you should join the United States. And none of them said, oh, you can leave whenever you want to. None of them said that. Repeatedly, they were saying things like, Madison was saying, the pestilent effects of paper money. Mustn't have paper money because you'll have terrible inflation. There must be a gold standard. There were things like the Federal in discrete things. But there was never anything about, oh, you can leave whenever you want. So that's not true. You could never leave whenever you want. Else they would have made it a selling point. It's just like when you hear when people selling things on the internet where they'll say money back guarantee. There was no money back. There wasn't no get out clause. So once you're in, you're in.
Yeah, I mean, probably some Southerners especially would disagree with you, but
it is what it is. You can get the Federalist Papers and see if it's in there.
Yeah, but I mean, so
that's an example of wishful thinking, though, to think that you can, because you've probably read the American Constitution. It's like about 3 or 4 times it talks about rebellion and insurrection.
I mean, with the whole American ideology, it's messed up. It's not all, but a lot of it is wishful thinking and.
Well, what happened was, so they created the Bill of Rights, and then within like 20 years, they created the Alien and Sedition Act, where it was where it happened was, it was like the same people that wrote it would then go against it when they created this Aliens and Sedition. Anyway, I'm going too much history. Anyway, we go back to British values, British schools.
To good.
Here's an example. This is an example.
Let's leave all this colonial nonsense and get back to good old British values.
Yeah, but wait a minute. What about the idea of here's something the Americans could do. Instead of having Saudi Arabia Islam, which is the very radicalized version of Islam, because you have like Saudi Arabia paying for schools in Pakistan. And if the United States did that instead of, that's that thing about creating these school systems abroad and infiltrating yourself into, like soft power. That would be a better use of things. But these things need to be set up decades in advance.
Yeah, but there are like American schools in the Near East. I think Egypt has like.
Yeah, I know, but it needs to be to such an extent, and also they need to be smart and put the heavy word on Saudi Arabia, because the United States protects Saudi Arabia. I mean, they do not do enough stuff in terms of like full-on pressure, do it or die.
Yes, but I mean that's because they are dependent on them. I mean, that's the oil deal. I mean,
again, that's something else. They shouldn't be dependent on them because there's so much oil in the Arctic and in loads of areas where they don't let them drill. And anyway, we'll get into that in future. You've probably looked into it.
Let's not diverge further on that because this would go ad infinitum. Let's finish up this thing here.
What we got here?
The nations being worked to death in the mines recalls the Spanish treatment of North and South American Indians in the 16th and 17th century. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and then I'll put at the top, in a sort of like half joke, gives imperialism a bad name, that does.
Yeah. Yes, I mean, yeah, but that was a whole thing of.
Yeah, I sort of agree with a sort of soft imperialism, which is sort of like a case of this is the reality. You get to rule your own affairs. We get the strategic development, and it all works out well. And then it all transitions to like a dominion status, so it all works out well in the end.
Hmm.
It's a sort of in terms of a reality thing of things don't happen in a vacuum. It's like there's always needs to be what we've seen in history is there always needs to be a power in the world, otherwise things will break down. They used to call it what did they call it? They used to call it Pax Romana, didn't they? And then they called it Pax Britannica.
Yes, but I mean, it's not like it was worldwide at any point. I mean, the British Empire came close to that, but I mean, Rome was controlling most of the Mediterranean area. I mean, there was so. I don't think there has to be like a central power. I mean, or everything.
Well, regional power, anyway.
Chaos, because huge parts of the world were in, let's say, not chaos, but there's. I mean, humans work out some sort of systems in any circumstances that works out, or at least works out for some parts of the population.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what happened with Rome was you had a situation where you had this huge city that wasn't really making anything.
No,
it was just a huge drag on the rest of the Roman Empire, where you had all these people in the city who weren't really productive.
Oh, well, no, I mean they had an industry, like they produced stuff, but yeah, I mean they were the central power that regulated mostly.
They ran out of money. They had to. In fact, that's where it comes from, doesn't it? Debase your currency. Do you know where the word debase comes from?
No.
It means put base metals in. So they debased the gold coins by putting base metals into the coins.
Yeah, but that was in the later Imperial Age, like 200 AD and 300 AD, especially afterwards. But yes, I mean, okay, there are some theories about how complex societies are destined to fail. I have to send you a link about that. It's very interesting. A theory that the more complex a society, a system becomes, the more it uses resources and energy in sustaining the system instead of actually gaining anything.
Wait, there's a difference between complexity of society and then complexity of government. Because so for instance,
it relates to government.
That's the problem.
And well,
the bureaucracies get bigger and bigger and bigger. That's the thing.
Yes, but I mean, the whole, not the bureaucracy in the logistical sense was complex, but also the interrelationships of power was complex. And I forgot his name. The demise of complex societies.
Well, you had this a lot in China, where they had this build-up of this bureaucracy in ancient China. I
mean, they also have a lot of problems. Always had with I don't know. Let's not digress.
Here we go. Then we got and this is where it goes a bit maximum power. Sanunovit appears to have a grimy hand mark in the middle of her cleavage. I wish it did. It was just a slight mark. That was a little bit like maximum power. I would if I would just have that sentence on its own, you might think it was from the spoof book.
So okay, I know that the narrow jacket from the is in the company was inspired by that. Yeah, it was very Aztec-like. Especially the costume of Ro at the end.
Yeah.
Kay's outfit is particularly risible. What does it mean?
Risible means crap.
Oh.
Risible, the ability to take the piss out of it, the ability to take a rise out. You usually say that if you take a rise out of someone, you mock someone. And it wasn't that bad. It was that thing because it was white. It had green bits in it, and she's thin, but she's not horrendously thin. She's not. She's thin. She's not awfully thin. She's a case of leave her alone. Don't criticise her too much. That's fair enough. It's not horrendously thin. It's not called the Doctor thin.
Okay.
It's not you know, it's almost rude when people put things like that in. But I did put a smiley face on there because I found it was funny. But people like that can get very annoyed by things like that. They think it's okay to say something about someone who's thin.
I don't know. I don't care. Like...
I know, but you know what I mean. There are some people out there who don't like people. There are some women out there who are quite thin, not medically dangerously thin, but they don't like people always pointing out how thin they are.
Yeah, but I mean, what's the point? So she is thin. I mean, it would be funny if one of the characters was seriously overweight. Okay, then, but
yes, Gan is, yeah.
Yeah, but he's also strong.
They try to hide it though. In fact, his clothes are actually quite cleverly designed to minimize his.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, why nitpick on this? I mean, she's telepath. She's this character. Why nitpick about her being thin?
Okay, exactly.
The end of the story redeems a number of its problems. The indication that the population bereft of Federation's aid will now revert to a low level of technology highlights the fact that technological and educational superiority may not be everyone's idea of social advancement. Oh yes, and I hated it. This was like, yeah, the illusion of this what's called Saint Savage, the wise good savage, and this was like, yeah, they probably, I didn't like it because it's so cliche, and I would like it more like they would kind of use the technology of the Federation against them or something like this in the end. Like the whole when the mentor is killed by the blow dart, I didn't like that.
Well, I mean, I think the blow darts are very effective in real life.
With
the
poison. Against a railgun.
Yeah, but like the actual poison, I think they get it off the back of a frog.
Yes, but do you know how the reach, how far it can shoot, is probably very limited, and
yeah,
the accuracy of that is not very good.
Yeah, I agree.
And you can't like use it. I mean, you can use blow darts in a military setting in any way, especially when you have like technologically more advanced armies against you. Even with just gunpowder, I mean, you couldn't use blow darts against them. Bow and arrows, maybe. I mean, but yeah.
I want to just say something about like, I've gone off that bit there about the technology where it's technological advancement. It makes the lives of the ordinary man and woman proportionately better than those who are rich. So, for instance, Ro's life, like he's at the top of their pyramid, and they have a certain standard of living. And it's like, you've watched Game of Thrones. The average person, the average person in Germany does live better than the kings and queens in Game of Thrones.
Of course, I mean we have penicillin and teeth hygiene, which they normally wouldn't have, so they wouldn't have these perfect smiles. But whatever, yeah.
Yeah, but that's the point though about technology. So when they talk about but you have a situation where it's the technology that really advances the lives of the average person.
Yeah.
So for instance, it's like Peter Schiff would talk about how the average person in the average American in the 1950s could afford to go on holiday to Europe. And Peter Schiff said there was this expression called the ugly American, because the Americans would turn up and just spend so much money. We had an equivalent of that in the 1980s, where you had the Japanese tourists who would turn up with just like so much spending power because they were so rich. Because they
yeah. And for them, everything here was cheap. Because the prices in Japan are quite high.
Oh, the one thing I remember, because sorry to interrupt, it was there used to be like guides in America, Europe on $1 a day, or like Europe on $5 a day. There used to be like guides for Americans who would like travel to Europe.
Yeah.
It shows you how strong the dollar used to be.
Yeah, maybe, but I mean, the trip alone is probably the most expensive part about it.
But I remember your parents may have done the same thing. When my mother was young, and even when she was at school, she could afford to go on loads of holidays to Europe, different European countries, at a very low price. Your parents may have done the same thing. In maybe the 60s and 70s, maybe they traveled to different countries around Europe at a very low rate, a very low price.
I mean, Germany was expensive compared to Poland back then. So, like the average salary of a Polish person was something ridiculous. When you...
Oh, sorry, I've completely forgot that your parents were Polish. I assumed they were I completely forgot your genealogy.
I was wondering what you are getting at. Like, what?
Yes, a different lifestyle there.
Yeah, so no, like my parents came here with 2 suitcases and a fortune that was like a low grade 1 month salary maybe in Germany, but that was like what they saved up for this whole thing. And so yeah, but how did we end up with salaries? where did we digress? Talking about cable being thin, and then there was somehow we ended up with salaries.
Yeah, we were talking about level of technology, and then going to
the level of technology. Yeah, I think it does improve. I'm completely sure it does improve the quality of life for the general population, especially.
More so proportionately than for the richest person, because it's the richest. Because you, like say in the past, like the richest people would have like servants and stuff, but the actual change in standard of living for the average person, the people lower down, is more proportionately than for the richest person. So, for instance, if you compared the standard of living of the average person now to the average person 100 years ago, but then compare the standard of living to the richest person now to the richest person 100 years ago, there's going to be a bigger difference for the average person than for the richest person.
Because there's a saturation effect there. I mean, in the past, only the elites had access to resources that that might improve the quality of your life. But since improving the quality of your life becomes cheaper with technology, like modern medicine. I mean, an aspirin costs nothing, or penicillin. So yeah, it improves the quality of life in general for the broad population. So this return to a more primitive lifestyle is ridiculous because I mean it's romanticized by this new movements nowadays, but they don't know what they talk about. I mean, you could die of the silliest things.
Oh yeah,
And
that's what I would miss.
Childbirth. I mean, that's.
Oh yeah.
It was normal to die during childbirth. It was like the chances were like 50-50. I overstate this, but yeah, like. And and children and babies that made it to adulthood, there was like only a certain percentage.
Oh yeah.
Because infant mortality was high, and just stuff like this. So, I mean, if the people of Horizon realize that. But I mean, on the other hand, how much technology did they get from the Federation? They still used pickaxes to mine.
Exactly. Only the elites would have got the technology.
Yes. But yeah, I would like to. I would have liked to see this to be more of a theme in this episode. Like, as I said before, maybe that they used technology of the Federation against them, or even like when Blake would stay there and Avon would fly away with the Liberator, that Avon would help and the rest of the crew would help to modernize this planet and make it a base for themselves. Maybe fail in that, but it would be interesting.
If you came to me with that as an idea, and I'm the producer on Blake, so and I said, "Very good, Wojtek. Do it as a novel. We're not going to do it as a TV series. We will get cancelled if we do that."
I don't know. It would be interesting to see.
It would be interesting. You've given this story 5 out of 10, and you want to make a whole series out of the premise of this episode?
Yeah, because I'm bored. Because I get 5 out of 10, I'm so bored, I'm making stuff up. That seems more interesting. So, maybe. I mean, there are a lot of ways that could have made the series more appealing to me, but then again,
there are things in there. I mean, this was an atypical episode, and I'm not a huge fan of Alan Pryor's stories in Blake 7 because he tends to write characters. He wrote stories that didn't really involve the main characters a lot.
Yeah, but I mean that's good for a series like this because you don't get more of the same. And if you can intelligently include your main characters as side characters in this episodic story, then it's okay. I mean, and they did a good job in this one. I mean,
I liked it more than I remembered it, and this is one of these episodes I remember very clearly from a long time ago.
Yeah, I just remember the end, like when he turns up with this ridiculous costume, and I think that's about it. What I originally remembered from this episode, I just remembered, oh yeah, that they get caught. Something happens, mines, ridiculous costume in the end. Yeah, but I mean, okay, they tell the story and they tell it quite professionally. I mean, it's not about Blake. It's not even about Avon for a change.
I mean,
Uh, it's about her and this commissar, and Blake is a side character in that.
yeah, I mean, I liked that you got to learn a lot about the Federation just through the interaction of those two characters.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was almost like a play, and that he did have a character arc.
No, I like the points where you get more background info about the world you are in, like when they do world building, and this interaction between the commissar and his predecessor on the planet was interesting. That because you see how, for example, the commissar knew Blake was this renegade, and he didn't tell. The commissar. That shows how
He wanted the reward.
yes, he how the Federation is made of power-hungry people who play power games in order to benefit themselves.
Oh
And
yeah,
even more so, this will be a theme in the next episode. Even more so. So
that there, folks, is.
sorry, no, in the episode after the next one.
Yes.
Yeah, the trial.
Right. What we got here? At least here they put an echo of compromises rather than saying it is, because a lot of times they will say is when they're just reading in. But at least this, so we know what to put now. If you want to read in, folks, put is an echo of.
Or just I think, in my opinion, IMO.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, when you talk to another intuitive, it's a given. Like, yeah, that's your idea. That's interesting. Let's turn it around in my head and see what I can do with it, and then you can play like ping pong and just go back and forth with ideas.
We may have reached a natural endpoint. What say you, Mr. M? And we have one question: is Muller German for Miller?
Yes.
It is. Seriously.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Müller, and it's an umlaut. It also, I mean, it's not a Polish name, obviously. So it was written with two E's sometimes in Poland. But yeah, I mean, why are you so surprised?
Well, I think it's because it fits in with the joke at the beginning. Here are a couple of Millers and their German cousin Muller.
Yeah, but I mean, English is a German language.
Yeah, but I didn't know that. I just did it as a joke. I just
Germanic.
thought maybe.
Yeah. No, Miller, Smith is Schmied. What else do we have? I don't know. Ben, let's make a stop here. It's 12:20.
Right, okay. Okay. So we found out, folks, that yes, the joke works. A couple of Millers and a Muller, their German cousin. Bye bye.